Don't press any of the other buttons other than on when you want it on.
I remember you said something about going on. Let's see.
Here, I'll find out if it's working.
Where do oh, here I see up here. Hello. This is what I'm seeing. Oh God, that's bright. I think that needs to be not so bright. 4. No. Yeah, that's too high. Hello. I might need another. Raise this down. Hello, baby. 1. There we go. 2. It's done. The print's done. Yeah, if I can bring it back just a little bit when I stand up. Yeah, there we see. Okay. Now, what do I see here? I can't. Oh, I need to get in the live over here. I need to get in the live stream over here, or something. Oh, I was already there. Hello, YouTube. Hold on, we're getting started. Let's change to somebody else. You know what we need? We need to build like a new house or something. And how do I get in my own live stream? Fulfillment stories. Your channel. Oh. Let's do that. Ta-da. No.
You do anything.
So we can do this.
Da! Hi. Oh, people are in here. Hi, guys. I'm just like getting my act together. Imagine that. So it's done. Ta-da. We finished it. We actually need to print this. So where am I? Let me make this big. So I did a test print of this and it works, but pretend like that hasn't happened. Let me go over here to 1, 2. And what I want to do is, wait, what? It's freezing? I'm frozen? Pip. There we go. Okay. Is it working? My tech support. Hello. Lots of socks. Hi. Hey, Echo. The ferret gamer. It looks like it's slow. Okay, we've got a little delay here. So I'm going to go over to, which one is this one? Daha. We're going to see how delayed we are. So I'm going to respond to you all. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to hope that this works. Where's my picture in picture? There we go. We're going to hope that this works. So Mosaic had an update, a firmware update today, and they've added some stuff, and I haven't had a chance to work with it. So it looks like camera and camera, and you can watch your camera, the print as it's going on. So I'm not sure where that is, but I'm going to show you where it probably will be, and then hopefully I can test that out tomorrow. I am working on a review, and every time I get to it, I'm having a really hard time. Let me read this. It looks so cool. What is it? It's a bracelet. It's a bracelet. So let me show you what this is. We'll come in here and look at it. And it is a single model. It's called the Kinematics bracelet. And I found it just on Thingiverse. And it looked great. And it looked like it had separate pieces that I could go in and assign colors to. And I definitely was able to do that. It did take a little bit of fiddling. So let me see. Cup noodles. It is definitely really fun. And it is not as expensive to get in as it used to be. When I first was looking at getting to 3D printing, they were thousands of dollars. Right now, the Creality Enter 3 Pro was available with a coupon for $100 at Micro Center. Yeah. So I don't know if that coupon's still available. So let's look at this.
Brandon Star says, where do you download Canvas safely?
Where do you download it? So Canvas is online. So if you look here, I am up here at canvas3.io. So it's a web-based tool. So you can create an account on Canvas. I do not believe you have to have a Mosaic product in order to do so. When I started, I'm not sure because I've had a Canvas account for a while, but you can go in and play with it because I had ordered the palette too, and I actually hadn't gotten it yet. And so I created an account, and So let me get this started, and then we can play around with Canvas, because that's one of the things that I wanted to do with this is get the print going, hold on to questions, and then let's get into Canvas. I'll answer any questions you've got and sort of show you how stuff is done, because this is the finished product. I've brought the model in, I've painted the model, and now we're ready to print. Let's get it started, because it's going to sit around and do stuff for a while, and then we'll mess around with Canvas. Okay, so the first thing is I have printed it. I've painted it up. I'm going to preview it. Let's back out and look at what we will expect to get in the end. We will expect to get this is a slicer, just like you've got with anything else. So these are the actual lines that are going to be painted in filament by your printer. And hopefully the bracelet will move at the end. The other thing that we're going to have is this block, and that is the sacrificial filament that the palette is going to have your printer create so that you can cleanly move from green to blue and blue to yellow. So I'm going to send it to the device. And this is something that's very different than Palette 2. I know. Brambles, you've been here. I know. Wait, hold on. I want to talk to you guys, but I want to get this going because it's going to take a couple hours. I know. I can't believe it either. Honestly, I really just sort of close my eyes and just pretend like I'm talking to like just you all, because I don't know 50,000 people. I've never met 50,000 people, and it like gets my heart kind of racing. The first time I ever put my face on a video, I was like terrified. Okay, so this is what should happen when you send it to the device. This is great. This is Canvas. We're on their web server. There are other ways to do this, but this is what Mosaic has provided for us. If you don't like web-based stuff, you have another option I'll talk about in a little bit. But I brought the model in. I added color to it. I said slice it. It sliced it. It's now prepared it. It's sent it over to the printer. And now I am going to pick it here. And we've got matching time here. Is this right? Yep. 2022. And I'm going to start print. Okay. Print has been, and now we're going to hear noise. So let's go over here. And it is going to check. This is going to get loud. So I've got my mic on, but I'm going to talk a little bit louder. It's going to check all 8 colors. If you were in the live stream group, let me picture in picture. Actually, I don't know. This is going to get in the way. No, we don't want to picture in picture this. Oop, how do I off? Yeah, because we want this to be seen. So if you were on my last live stream where we messed with the Mosaic palette, we had issues, and I blamed the palette. I want you all to know, it's on top of it, so turn it off. It's on top of where I want to see. I can't move it because we need to see it coming. I want you to know that Mosaic did nothing wrong. Welcome to the channel, Ferret Gamer. I messed up. I completely messed up. And I'll tell you why. The orange filament was not PLA. I thought I had grabbed the orange Prushiment PLA. I had grabbed orange PET G. And so all of those splices were failing, and it was not the palette's fault. It was totally my fault. So, okay. So it says here, your printer is warming up. I'm going to say, okay, or preheating. And if we look at let me check over here too. Can you see it? Oh, no. Can you angle it down for a sec? And we're also not really focused. Other one, or you can just angle over. Yeah, just no. I want you to look. No. You need down. Down. Okay, so the printer, although we've got little focus issues. There we go. So it's got the printer preheating for us. The printer is heating. The bed is heating. The palette is completely handling all of this for us. And it is, if we go back over to 1, it's making filament. So you've got this progress bar here. It's going to make enough filament to go. You can see this little guy hanging down here. It's going to make enough filament to go up around here. This is the buffer area, because the speed with which your printer is going to pull filament to print is a different speed than the way the palette makes filament. You'll see it sort of does it in fits and spurts. It's very slowly. Oh, see, it just pushed a pretty fast chunk. And now, as it makes the next splice, it's going to, now it's very quiet. The only time we get it quiet, it's heating up here so that this is perfectly positioned, and it's going to push that in right here in the center. This is where the splice where the splice is happening. It's pushing one into the other. It's heating it. It may be doing compression depending on what your settings are. And then it's very slowly pushing it out as it cools it. And then there goes a fast, whoops, there goes a fast little bit. So we're still making filament to get to the printer. Let's see what everybody's saying. How many printers? Ooh, first time on the YouTube channel. Welcome, Colorblind Creations. Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I love doing this. And I had done, I love YouTube. I really do love YouTube because I want to do more longer format. And YouTube has made it pretty easy now to do. I have done a whole bunch of live streams on TikTok. In fact, I am currently running a TikTok live stream. I feel bad. I'm double live streaming. I'm running a neat JBV creative, just little ball thing. So I just run TikTok live streams a lot because, oh, you're backing up. Oh, you're backing up. This is my cameraman. Which way are we going? Oh, there they are. Look at that.
And some toys.
Oh, and some toys. So how many printers do I have? Let me think. I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's the Voron 0.1 that's out of focus. He has parts that he needs to have added to him. I haven't been using. Woo! Where are we going over here? Oh, there's Andy Cubic. You're way out of focus. And there's my snack. My snack. I love these things. Oh my gosh. They're so good. What filament? Okay. That's a good question. I've got a random smattering of filament. And the reason I picked a bunch, we've still got focus issues. Okay. The reason I have, hi, Jonas Brothers 2022, Reagan L. Hi. So the filament is a random smattering of filament. Let me see. Oh, I'm in here. And I'm going to try to look at the camera here. But the camera's here, and I'm keep looking over there. So it's a random smattering of filament. The reason I did that is because I wanted to have it try different things. So right now we need to go back to what's happening here. It's doing the final splice, and we have some coming out the end. So as soon as it's done with the splice, we should get a message from it. Okay, now it says to feed the extruder. So the printer is heated up at the right temperature. The bed is heated up. The recommendation is to not have filament auto load. So I'm going to put this in here and push it down. And then it says next, under the instructions, clip the guide tube. There is a guide tube. I have a collet set here, so I'll be able to grab it when it comes in. Next. And then I'm going to say smart load, and we'll see what it does. Smart load. There we go. And it's going to pull the filament in. Now, it actually, I need to do my settings because it's going to give me an error here. Fortunately, it's not going to error out. It's waiting actually to detect smart load. It's waiting to detect motion here. Everywhere on here is watching movement, and I need to set it so that, and that's okay, it ran into a problem. It's actually creating a little more filament than I need at the beginning. So you'll notice I need to go in and I need to change the length to start, and I forgot to do that. Smart load. So as soon as this starts to pull filament, because it's saying stopping at 15.7 millimeters, but it actually gave me a little extra. Wait, what? Smart load. Oh gosh, that scared me. As soon as, oh, come on. I almost want to just grab it and pull it just a tiny bit. There we go. If I pull it just a tiny bit, it knows it's waiting for communication between the palette and the printer. And the way that that communication happens is basically through the filament being pulled. Smart load, you're going to get it. You're going to get it this time. Okay, you got it?
It's not, none of it's coming out.
Yeah, it's not coming out. It's fine. There we go. You can do it. I'm talking louder? Okay, sorry. You can do it. All right. So, sorry, I got to get, my mic is here. Let me move my mic. I'm going to rotate my mic. There we go. I'll rotate my mic. Okay. Now you can see it. So what's happened is the palette is waiting for the printer to communicate. And the only way the printer really can communicate is by pulling or pushing filament through retraction. So it's now said the palette's still loading and its smart load is complete. Next, and it says remove any purged filaments and start printing. Go. Ta-da! All right. Now we're going to give it just a minute to make sure all is well. Let's see, check filament. Let's check 2. Okay. Yeah, you can probably move 2 back up. You are the most helpful cameraman ever. Most helpful cameraman. All right, let me check the messages. All right, let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, what time is it there and how long? So it is 11:37 at night. And the time on this print is, let's see what it said. The time on this print is 3 hours remaining. We're going to do this faster than 3 hours because I am going to speed up. I'm going to speed up the printer. And wait, oh, I don't have it. I have this picture in picture. So we're going to do this faster than 3 hours because I'm going to speed it up. So the estimate is based on how fast the printer is going to print. And I'm going to ask the printer to move a little faster. All right, so next question. Oh, some of the dragons. I actually have 2 dragons here. This is for my next door neighbor's son, Whitaker. This one's while we're coming in. And he picked these colors. It always works this way with dragons. What? Oh, go 3. Yeah, I know, but we're watching this. Okay, so this is Whitaker's dragon. He wanted these colors, and it turned out looking really nice. It's we have not had children in our house for, it sounds like years at this point. So, yeah, he's going to get it tomorrow. Huh?
Except for our.
Oh, well, our children have lots of dragons. All right, let's go back to 2. And let's see here. So, what filament do we have?
Fortner 911 likes the spinner on the direct drive.
Oh, I love those. What are they called? Not accentuators. They're called. There's a name for them. Oh, what's the name for them? Yeah, I love those things. So, all right. So the first thing that it's done is it's done the first color. I got a whole bunch of questions in queue. I will get to them all. And if I miss the question, ask it again. Okay. It is now going to the back and it's creating what's called the transition tower or the purge tower. And in order to have clean colors to go cleanly from, it looks like it was orange first, to whatever color it's going to do next. And it picked that on the slice when it sliced it. Oops, sorry. Thank you. And so it picked whatever color is going next. It's going to create this transition tower. The size of that transition tower is completely dependent on how many colors we have and the settings. So while it does this, let me come back here and actually, we did this last time. So maybe we can just.
Yes, that was the crystal dragon from Cinderwing 3D.
Oh, thank you. I want closeness. I want to get in here as close as I can. Can we up this? Because I feel like we're back. Okay. Oh, so the dragon. Yeah, that was. And now I made it out of focus. Can you focus me? Sorry. Can you up higher and angle down so that because I feel like we're really far away. Yeah. Well, let me do this.
Well, if we get higher, the more.
Let me pull this. I'll pull it forward. I'll pull the printer forward.
Get too high, then you can't see the print.
Yeah. Are you focused? I brought it forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the dragon. So the first thing that it's going to do is create the perimeter for the transition tower. And then every time it changes color, it's going to do a piece of that. So the dimensions of that, let me go back here on Canvas. I'm going to go back. So one thing, I'm going to go over to the printer, to the computer real fast, is that you have control of your printer. You can see so it's saying 3 hours. I'm going to speed it up in a few minutes after we get done with layer 1. And you can see what models that you've sent. So this is actually really nice. So one of the things with the Palette 3 is you are connecting your printer to the Palette 3 from the network standpoint. Your printer is Wi-Fi enabled. Your printer is going to control the whole show, and you're going to do so through Canvas. So Canvas is where you're going to dropping your models, paint them. You're going to slice them there, send them to the palette, and then start the print. So all of that can be done through Palette. So you don't actually need Octoprint. Can you use Octoprint? Yes. You don't have to actually use this setup. You can do everything, send it to the palette, and then still send your models through Octoprint. This is just, they've set this up as a nice feature. Okay. So it's finished orange, and then it's done the yellow, and now it's going to add the next little bit of, I need to be over. I need to have this here. Oh. Eliminating the line of the outline. I think he's talking about a skirt. Maybe. Oh, outline on your prints? So are you talking about when you start a print and at the beginning of the print, there is just a whole big line around it before it does the print? And so if you've got, like, in this case, everything that we have here would have a gray big line around it. Yes. Okay. Look for the skirt setting. So in this case, let's go back to my project and oops. I just went to the wrong place. Let me go here. So I'm going to go back in Canvas. I'm sorry. I went here to projects. I am going to go. Notice my husband has his own folder. I'm going to go to this Kinematics bracelet. So if you have done 3D printing, this is not only the tool where we're going to turn you here. This is the tool where you're going to paint the model, but it's also your slicer. So let's go in here to settings, and let's look at some of the settings. 2 solid layers. It's also going to give you information about what is common. So I'm not sure why, but apparently a lot of people like 3 layers. Layer height, perimeters. Let's see where it is. Infill? Where would it be? Infill. Somewhere is going to be skirt. First layer. Skirt brim. Ah, okay. So a skirt, number of outlines. And it's just, it draws a little skirt around. And it is very common for slicers to have that turned on. I'm not up here, guys. Sorry. It's very common for slicers by default. Cura, Prusa slicer. I'm not sure about Simplify 3D, but by default, the default slicer settings have skirt on. And it is basically an extra priming. So when you've got the filament loaded, it gives it an opportunity to get any gunk off that's sitting on the nozzle. And it's just, but I don't usually do it because there's usually a prime line. All right, let's go back and look. Ooh, we've got the yellow. All right, there was a question about brim. Brim. Okay, brim is a different thing. I don't have a hat. But a brim, so a skirt is just like a halo, a couple of rings. A brim is supposed to assist in helping keep the model down. Think about the skirt as additional purge to get your nozzle clean. And the brim is like a hat. So if you have I have one in the trash. Hold on. I printed this model and it printed like this. There we go. Where am I? 4? No, here. I printed this model and it printed like this. And this was the only surface on the build plate. And so I printed it with a brim because if I didn't, it might survive, but it got very wobbly. It did not do well. But without a brim, this probably here would have knocked over. So it's a great way to help keep the model in place if it might be wobbling. And the other one you've got is raft. Let's go back and see. Actually, let's see what's happening over on the palette. So can I zoom in here? Zoom in. What's going to happen? So the palette is going to Okay, there are two versions of the palette. There's the palette 3 and the palette 3. Am I going to be in the way? Okay, there's the palette 3 and the palette 3. Wait, how much time? It says 3 hours. As soon as it's done with layer 1, I'm going to speed it up. So I am going to go over on the printer itself and have it move at faster than 100%. It's printing at 100% speed. I'm going to make it go at like 130, 140%. Oh, it's overdoing. We're changing colors. Now, the thing about the transition tower, and by the way, I'm jumping all over the place. There's so much to talk about with this. So if I don't answer your question, be sure to keep asking it. Let's see what. Yeah, I like what Colorblind Creation said. It's if you don't completely purge out, it is your insurance policy. Sometimes they're blobs on the nozzle. It's a great way to be sure that you've got everything clean. So it's not necessary. It doesn't do anything to the stability of the model, but it's sort of a safety. Okay, so we're over on the transition tower now, and the transition tower by Mosaic, the canvas tool, was determined to be this size. And the reason it was this size is because it's changing colors 7 times every layer, actually 8 times because it's going back to the first one. And it needs a certain amount of distance to go back and forth to get the old color out and get over to the new. So in this case, it finished with, let me make sure. Oh yeah, it finished with this light blue, and then it moved to the dark blue. And I have this printer squished down a little bit. Let me feel this. Hold on. Yeah, it's not the ideal distance. The nozzle is not the ideal distance from the bill plate for the first layer because I want to make sure that this sticks. So I have it a little squished, as the saying goes. How much is the palette 3? That is a great question. So let's go look because I believe it is that. So the news is whatever price it is today will be $100 more after April 15th or maybe on April 15th. So let's go to Mosaic Manufacturing, and it evolved. Let's go to the palette. Hello, welcome. Oh my word. I just want to know how much it is. No. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Are we adding to cart? Let's add to cart. What are we adding to cart? Palette 3 Pro is $7.99 and the palette at 1. Where is okay, so the palette 3 not Pro is $6.99 and the palette 3 Pro is $7.99. And the difference between them is 4 colors versus 8 colors. It's identical except for when you are over here, the paths, there are only 4 paths here. And I believe the splice core is slightly different, but I am not sure on that. I know it was with the palette 2. So it will be $8.99 and $7.99. What are we doing? You're pushing this button. Okay, he's the most helpful. How much is a 3D printer? It depends on which 3D printer you want. Like I said, I think that you really want to make a decision on a 3D printer as to how much you're going to get into it. So I did not start with a Prusa. The Prusa, let's go see how much the Prusas are. So we're going to go on another tab. Prusa 3D. Oh, I hadn't gotten there yet. I thought we could, hey, Joseph Prusa. Let's go to 3D printers. Okay, Prusa Mark III. There we go. And $9.99. You can get it as a kit. If you are interested, let me put myself up here. So the Prusa is, I think I like how Joel Telling said it. He said that, because someone said, and he was comparing like the Ender 3 and the Prusa, and he said, I don't think it's a fair comparison because I really think you've got two different two different groups that are using them. This Prusa is a workhorse. It is, you can put this in a print farm. You can run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is the advantage. Let's go back. I want to see what's happening here. And we don't need to see me. The advantage to the Prusa over something like an Ender 3 S1, which is a great printer, or just the Ender 3 Pro, or a lot of like the Voxelab Aquila, the Elegoo Neptune. It has to do with how some of the features are implemented. And one of the great things about like the Ender 3 Pro, and I have my neighbor 2 down got one for Christmas, and I had not worked with the Ender 3 Pro, so I went over and was working on his with it. It's a great printer, and at $100, it's an excellent price. But I think Joel said, you're getting a printer that is a tinkering printer. You're going to need to learn a little bit more, but you also have the option to do a lot of upgrading. My Ender 3 V2, I have done a whole bunch of upgrades to add functionality to it that's already on this Prusa. So for instance, one thing, let's see. Yeah, the DIY, the assembly on the Prusa is amazing. So I highly recommend it. If you are willing to spend that much money, I can tell you that you will probably absolutely love the printer. When I got my first one, I love it. And I have more than one of them, and I love them. But there are a whole bunch of excellent printers out there. So look at the specs if you're looking at getting one. If you're not sure if you're going to dive into 3D printing, here's my advice. Get an entry-level 3D printer, because you may find that you absolutely love it. And if you do, you're going to want 2 3D printers. And I'll tell you why. Because let's say you want to print something like this Crystal Dragon. So you've got 30 hours right here, but you've got 3 friends that want one. So you've got 4 days, and then you've got overnight, and it finishes overnight, or something goes wrong. I have this didn't finish the first time. I had a layer shift, and print fails happen. And so it takes a lot of time to get things done. The number one reason people get a second 3D printer is because of bandwidth, of printing bandwidth. So, and this is I just finished this one. This is Cinderwing's Easter Dragon. I thought somebody said it was the Eastern Dragon, but it's interesting. It's got bunny rabbit ears and Easter eggs on the back. It's the most interesting mashup of stuff, and feathers. And anyway, it's just an interesting mashup, but it's fun somehow. It's fun. And this one is what is this one? The fuzzy dragon, furry dragon? I don't remember. And this one was actually really pretty. And I did this one in another transition the other day. But we digress from the palette. All right, so let's see. I want to see it. What's it doing? Thinking. Let me think. See what it's doing. What's happening? Do you see? It looks like there's LEDs. Here, lean over. It looks like there's LEDs happening there, but there aren't. See it?
Huh.
All right.
Something's reflecting.
Yeah, it's doing an interesting reflection. There is. All right. We're almost done with layer 1. Almost done with layer 1. All right. And those of you who are in here and are giving advice, thank you. One of the things is that I absolutely love about 3D printing is this is the best community. I mean, absolute best community. If you get a printer and you have no idea what you're doing, jump on a Facebook or a Discord server or anywhere, and people will absolutely help you. I think one of the reasons that I am as involved in 3D printing as I am is because of the people that I've met, and most of them I've not met in person. It's such a great community. Very little drama in the community. Every now and then there is, but most of the time it's really nice. Let me see. Echo, hey Echo. Hey Echo. Echo was in my other live stream, and she said she would come over. So, I mean, the Creality machines, I agree. They're great machines. You can do so much printing with them. my Creality machine. So to give you an example of functionality that you get to enhance if you want, and it's fun. Okay, so we talked about updating a machine and adding functionality features that you wouldn't get. This Prusa printer, let me go over to, okay, we're looking at the printer. At the beginning of the print, it goes, I'm going to put my finger over here. It does something, it goes, zzz, 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 and it measures all these points, huh? Well, I'm too close. Oopsie. Okay, it measures all these points on the print bed, which looks very flat. In reality, it is not flat. It's not flat at the levels that the nozzle needs to be from the print bed. And the number one thing with 3D printing is the first layer is the most important. If your first layer doesn't stick, your model won't stick. If 3/4 of your, if 98% of your model sticks and 2% doesn't and starts to peel up, it'll kill the model. It'll probably kill the model. So that's super important. One of the things that this printer does is included is it does mesh bed leveling, and it goes around every time before it prints, and it gets a map of the heights at different points on the print surface. And then even though it looks like it's just moving back and forth, it's actually gradually moving up and down to match the terrain of the build plate. So one of the things I added, and it's super common to add to a Creality machine, is you add a BL touch or a 3D touch so that the Creality machine will do that. And it's fun to add that. Well, I think it's fun. It's fun to add it. And then now you've got additional functionality. So there's just a lot of fun. If you like tinkering, you're going to love 3D printing. And then you can like print stuff for your 3D printer. If you get a Creality machine, oh my gosh, the number of mods that are out there, it's just fun. Yep.
Is talking up the Prusa Mini also.
The Prusa Mini. Yeah, the Prusa Mini. I have a Prusa Mini. Where's my Prusa Mini? It is, yeah, show the Prusa Mini. We're kind of in focus. Here, we'll go to one. So we'll go to, oh, somebody had asked about the filament. So the Prusa Mini is definitely at a different price point. Let's go back out here and look at the Prusa Mini and see the price on the Prusa Mini. The Prusa Mini is a much smaller build plate. So let me grab this. Oops, let me not mess that up. So this is, you can tell there's a dragon on it. This is the build plate for the Prusa Mark III, and this is the build plate for the Prusa Mini. So the machines are different, but for the most part, anything you can print here, and vice versa. You would have to scale something down, but you are limited to this. If you want to print a helmet, you want to do an Iron Man helmet, you want to get a bigger machine. A Creality CR10 Max. This is a fun machine. I'm backwards. I love my Prusa Mini. I love my Prusa Mini. I'm gonna be very careful here to not mess up the brand. I'm very clumsy. I did it backwards. Oh, I'm so backwards. So yeah, one big question that you would have is, how big a printer do I want? I'll bring this guy out. Let me bring this thing here. Look at me. If you have young children and you want a printer that's just for your children, this Toybox is really solid. It is absolutely fun. It has a very tiny, it's very dusty, we haven't printed in a little bit, very tiny build surface that is, flexible. It's got an app. It has pictures. Your children point and click. They press a button. It prints. It is super fun, but that's the biggest you can print. And really printing stuff that you as an adult would want to print, it's not what I would recommend. But if you have young children who you want to get interested in 3D printing, it is fun. Now, it's about the same price as the Prusa Mini. So it's not inexpensive, but it is a solid machine. And my children have gotten a little older. We don't use this as much as we used to. All right, what filaments do we have? Let's get back down here. Can you come back to the filaments? Let's see. Picture. All right, the first one here is this one. Now that I realize, so if you weren't here earlier, I made a big mistake. Let me turn my mic here. I made a big mistake. We did a live stream earlier, and The palette had all these problems. The palette had all these problems. And it took us 2 hours to get it going. Some of it was the palette. Huh? Where'd it go? Oh. Some of it was the palette, but some of it was absolutely me. And I feel like I have to apologize to Mosaic and the palette for that. I made a big mistake, and that is that, go down here. This is 3D Max, and this is 3D Max, but I had an orange here that I thought was PLA. It was, in fact, PETG, and the splices were failing because the amount of heat, that's not good. That's a broken splice. All right, this happens. So what's happened over here? Now we've got this happens. So we now have a broken splice, and something's happened to the splice. The printer's kept printing. The printer is now out of filament, and we're going to see if we can continue this. Let's see, because they just updated the firmware today. So let's see how this goes. Okay. I am going to, okay, so no filament here. All right, so the printer has filament run out sensor. Hmm? Where do you see it? It's here. Ah, okay, so here's the break. All right, we're going to try to recover, and we will probably get our color shifted. But you will end up doing this lots of times when you have your palette. Take the thumb screws out and stick them here in the magnetic place. And I have to apologize for this fan. The fan needs to keep the filament cool, but it does not need to be on all the time. I do not understand why it's on all the time. All right, we're going to lift this up. Now, let me see. Okay, so I'm in here. So we're going to try to move the filament forward and have the palette catch up and make the splices. And basically, I'm going to pretend like I'm the printer for a little bit and move it forward. One thing that I really like to say about this is that I like to think about the palette like I do my 3D printer. Am I here? Now, let me come to me for a second. Like I do a 3D printer. I don't ever tell anyone you're going to get a 3D printer and everything's going to work every time. The palette's like that. It's adding a huge level of complexity on top of a complex robot that you're running, and stuff happens. Probably this is not the palette's fault. It's my fault. We were talking about the filaments. I did not splice tune these filaments. I should have gone through and made sure that the splice settings that I had set were adequate. So probably I don't have enough heat, compression, or cooling, and one of these filaments needs more, and so the splices are not solid. So this has happened. It's probably on me, but I was like, let's do this. Let's run a test. And I also want to show when this fails, because I think it's important to see this is what happens. It's okay. You can recover from it, or maybe we can't. Maybe we start over. Okay, so let's see what we do next. Go back to here. All right. It's measuring distance in lots of places. So I'm going to have to grab this. And I'm going to pull here. Oh, wait, I've got to go here. Let's see if I can get it. Come on. We might. Go. Okay. All right, that's what I needed to do. It is keeping track of filament that moves through here. So I tried to pull, and it's not going to let me pull anymore, but it will let me advance the filament. So I'm going to pretend like I'm the printer for a little bit here. Oh, go on here. Okay. No. Okay. Now, sorry, I'm making noises here. All right. Yep. What? What's up? All right. Bear with me while the palette can only make filament at a certain pace. There we go. It's going to give me more filament. Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. Yeah. Oh. No.
Hey, Ferret Gamer, I do not think she has printed the Lucky Clover Dragon yet.
Oh, no, I haven't printed it. All right. Ooh, that's not good. Come here. You need to be in there. Look at that. That's come out. All right. So this is, this is a little hacky, but that's not good. That needs to be in here. I need to get this in here. Come on, meow. Go down. There we go. Okay. You know what? What am I doing? As soon as I know, I'm sorry. As soon as I can get this back on, I want to. Hey, meow. Go down. Sorry, my head's in the way, guys. Is it in there? Is that? Oh, it's where it's supposed to be. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay, so. Sorry, I'm like doing this weird singing stuff. So let's make sure everything is as it should be. I'm going to pull. Oh. Nope, that's not on. I need to be here. I just don't think that's all the way down. Yeah, is that all the way down? Actually, yeah, it is. Okay.
Don't forget the tube.
There we go. Is that fine? It's rolling? Yep, it's rolling. Okay. Is that fine? It's rolling? Yep, it's rolling. Okay.
Yeah, check something.
All right, so let's see how much. We're getting close. Here's my PTFE tube. Here. I can only ask the palette to slice so fast. It can here we go. So now more. I can't put it back in here until I have enough. Do I have enough? Almost. One more slice. So in the meantime, the printer is patiently waiting. It said, get us another. Let's see here. And honestly, I am not blaming the palette for this. I did not properly splice tune these. I thought I had a good general setting, but each filament can be different. Mosaic recommends. I'm going to show you some splices. Are we almost there? Almost. And we're almost at the end here. So this is gonna set us off a little bit, and the reason is because this amount here that was kicked out by the printer when it realized it had no filament, and then we're gonna have to load some filament. So it says, was the filament unload successful? Are we over here? Where are we looking? Can you look here for me? Can you look here? Was the filament unload successful? I'm gonna say yes. It's going to say insert filament. All right, and we'll come up here. Insert filament. Okay, I'm going to say insert filament. And it's going to load filament. Okay. Now, is the filament color correct? I'm going to say yes. Whoops, it's going to give me a little more. It always kicks out a little bit more. Yep. Okay, so all of this filament here that I dropped on the floor, all of this filament we sort of lost. So we'll probably be offset. It might not be bad though. It might be that we have like green on the top and blue on the bottom, and it's just offset. So we'll see how it turns out shortly. All right. So there were some questions. Yeah, dragons. No, I love the dragons. The dragons are fun. All right, let me read questions for a minute. And eat a Reese's. A Reese's white. These are my favorite. White chocolate or whatever white substance this is. Oh, they're the best. Okay. So let me read some. Okay, do I have the PTFE tube on the direct drive? Yes, the PTFE tube is going into the direct drive. You can do this with Bowden. It will work with Bowden. You just have to connect it in. And it's all a matter of indicating. Let me make sure. Hold on. I'm going to move this forward. Can you find the focus? Okay. And it really is all about indicating how long the distance is from the point the filament exits the, here we'll go back over here and here, how long it is from the point the filament exits the palette machine itself until it gets to the tip of your nozzle. And so that's information. And interestingly, you're going to give, if you get the palette, you would give it some information. You're going to say, I'm using the short tube. So it knows how long the short tube is. And you can use any length PTFE tube. The palette 2, that's a change from the palette 2. You would use they had 3 specific ones, and they had very specific male and female ends for each side. So this is a nice change. But Wait, what?
I was going to say that Timothy's talking about there's dual extruder printers for half the price, but they can't do 8 colors.
Yeah, no, they're dual extruders. Yeah. Dual extruder. So IDEX, yes. If you want to get a dual extruder machine, those things are really exciting, and you can do dissolvable supports, or you can do 2 colors. And I mean, I'm gonna have to kind of agree. I think this is a lot of fun, but I don't have a need to do 8 colors that much. I think this is a very exciting advancement in technology that gives us the ability to do this. But I think this is a step in the direction to where something's going to go that somebody will come up with. Okay. So our purple is in the wrong spot. That's okay.
Will the top layer come up short now? Or just the wrong color?
No, the palette will adjust. Hold on. Hello. I see you. Who let you in? My dog has come down. Hi. Come on. Hello. Hi. I know. I know.
How about the bend radius of the curves? Is it too tight for brittle filaments?
How is... Oh, no, I don't think I'm going to print the Clover Dragon. I missed that. I missed that window. I thought about it, and then I just missed the window. Okay. The bend radius of the curve turns in the palette. Yeah, if the palette's brittle, if the filament's brittle, that's a really good question. So let's go back over here and look at that. So the question is, we see the filament making a turn here. It's making a turn here. So we've got 90-degree turns. And then it goes out. Where's my filament? Let's look at some filament. Lego. Oh, honey, that's not for you. I'm sorry, that's not for you. My dog is trying to get at my food. One of the things that you can do, if you've got a big print that you're going to do, and I have seen some of the palette 2, and I've seen not as many yet with the palette 3, but it's newer, these really big models, and they're beautifully done. The thing that you want to absolutely do is check every one of your filaments. So we'll go back and look at some of the settings on the palette to decide what you want to do. But testing beforehand, so let's take one of these pieces out. So if this is, make sure I'm right here, if this is just a standard filament and it bends, now you're right, you want to have, this is I had to change out this yellow. So this, it just snapped. That's a bad splice. But let's look at the green and the blue. So this is what you want to do, is have splices. And actually it looks like it's weaker at areas not here. This is a great splice. So it's actually giving at the point at the very end before it gives it the splice. So that's what you want to check out with splice tuning. That's too brittle. So is it the blue? It looks like this blue and the green are great. And even so, let's look at this. Yeah, these are, what am I doing? Matisse, come here. Matisse, what are we doing?
You want to see the dog?
Oh, they want to see the dog. Come here, sweetie. Come here.
Come here.
Come here. Come here, baby. Hello. I don't know if I can pick you up. Oh, my goodness. Can I pick you up? Here, let me pick you up a different way. You are such a big girl. Oh, I hit your head. She looks very confused. This is Matisse. She is a Wheaten Terrier. And she's very sweet. And she wants the peanut butter. She's got her sad face on. You are heavy, dog. You are heavy. Oh my goodness. Okay, I will put you down. Goodness me. Wow, I am just not, whew. I don't know how much you are. You've gained weight. Okay, I will give you some peanut butter later. I can't give you this peanut butter. I can't eat this peanut butter. I know, I can't give you this peanut butter. Okay, so where was I? I was breaking filament. So how do you determine what settings to do to get, I mean, this is really great. This is a great, but I think this one's not going to be. Yep. So something here in the green. So that's where you're going to go in and do splice settings. So while this is going, it looks like it's going, let's go back over to canvas. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. Okay. And so the Prusa Mini, we were on that. It's a great printer. I love it. I love my Prusa Mini. It's a smaller build volume, but it is, and it's also a Bowden printer. Let's go back to canvas, Kinematics bracelet. All right, so cancel. Where's my mouse? There's my mouse. No. Do you have unsaved changes? Exit. So when I painted this, if I select it, you can go to paint selected, and we haven't talked about painting it. So let's look at painting the model. And before I paint it, I want to talk about the filaments that we have and define my filaments, because I just happen to pick these colors and I have set up what they are. So that brings us back to the first question, which is, what filaments do we have? And they're all PLA. I'm going to bring us down here. I can't bring us down. I grabbed some colors. So here we have 3D Max. 3D Max. 3D Max is very good filament and an excellent price. You need to buy, in order to get the deal, 10 spools, but I think it's $99 for 10 spools. You pick the colors that you want, and it includes shipping in the continental US. I would check that, but it's a very good price, and the filament works well. All right, the second one here, third one here is Paramount, and it's wrapping around, so that's not good. Paramount's egg yolk yellow, one of my favorite colors. Egg yolk yellow is just the best yellow, and that is not going to work well. Come here. The fourth one is, huh?
Get the display on here.
Good gracious, come here.
I've messed up the TV.
Oh, you're connected. Oh, that's not good. Well, we'll just hope that you do well. I've got it. I got one twisted.
You got stuff on the screen.
What? I got stuff on my screen?
No, I've screwed it up.
Oh, you messed it up. Okay, so that is twisted. So this is Spectrum Green. I don't know what it is. It's a premium PLA, and it's lime green. All right, this next one is blah, blah, blah. I think this is Polymaker. Polymaker Polylight. Something like a light blue. I can't see it. Light blue. And then we have New Makers. Numakers. New Makers blue. New Makers, I actually did a lot of printing with this. This is a beautiful blue. They have, if they're using a high quality resin from NatureWorks, and that's a great blue. This one is, who is this? Matter Hackers. Matter Hackers. Something. Oh, Matter Hackers Pro Series. What the heck color is it? Matter Hackers Pro Series Lilac. And the final one is Zero, Z-I-R-O. This is on Amazon. If you are in Australia, it is 3D, no. Oh, shoot. What is it? It's a different brand in Australia. It is great stuff. So this one is Diamond PLA, the purple Diamond PLA. That one I love. So these are, some of them I work with all the time, others not as much. So I've now gone in, I've stuck them on. This is the little holder that has all 8 of them, and it actually will hold 10, is the thing that comes with canvas to put your filament on. Okay, so I'm going to define filament 1. I'm going to pick the color, and so here I am. Oh, wait, where are we going?
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Is something up? If something's up, I'll eat more candy, more chocolate. No? What you chucking?
What do you want?
Oh, yeah. All right, so before I get ready to do anything, I go and I pick out my filaments. This is the filaments I'm going to use. Have I sped up? Oh, I need to sped up the print. Yeah, no, I need to. Good call. Oh, crap. No, maybe not. Huh? It's saying it's got a color change in 8 hours and 40 minutes. Oh, we're good. We're not going to make 8 hours and 40 minutes. I don't know what that's thinking.
Not that long.
I know.
It'll
Okay.
take that long.
Yeah. The print is not that many layers. It is, are we on layer 12? The palette says we're 22% done, but I just sped it up by a good bit, huh? All right, we'll see how this goes. I have it at 150%. So the printer is going to ask for filament more rapidly, provided we don't have any more breaks. It should be faster. cloth. Okay. So I've picked my 8 filaments, and now in Canvas, before I drop my model in and whatnot, I'm going to define the first one as red, and then I'm going to say what type of material it is. And in this case, I have palette 3, 1, and I've assigned that to that. So this is another step you want to go in, and you want to go and I'm going to look at splice settings. So the splice settings for that particular material is, these are the 3 things that you can control. The first one is how much heat it applies to it. The second one is the compression, and the compression happens at 1. So if you watch, it'll have filament here, but it's still stuck in back here. And then the next piece, right now it's just pushing filament through, so it's not getting ready to a splice. The next piece will actually be a gap right here. It'll come in and go zzz, and tap, and then it'll pull it back. When it's time to do the splice, it heats up this half. And make sure we're not going to ruin this print going this fast. Okay. So we're out of sync because of the snap. We're out of sync. That's okay. All right. So here we go. So it hasn't pulled the next color yet, whatever the next color is going to be. We've got heat, compression, and cooling. The only time that you get the break from the fan, the only time is when it's applying heat. And I do not understand that. I don't understand why when it's just passing through filament, it can't be up. Because sometimes in bigger models, you might have, oh, there it goes. So now it's got the dark purple. That's what it is. And it's heating. Now it's going to cool it and slowly push it through. And the rest of the time, the fan's on at max. And it's such a loud fan. And if I've got 5 meters of a particular color, I have no idea why the fan needs to be on, because it's just passing 5 meters through. There is no reason for that fan to be on if the splice core is cooled that I can think of. There must be a reason, because it seems like something that from wear and tear, they would not want the fan off unless needed. So, okay. So heat, compression, and cooling, and that's where these 3 settings are. So the parameter is how much heat. You can have, you can actually go to negative for negative compression. I'm not sure exactly how negative works, but it must be something less than the default. Okay, wait, let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to be 3. I was hoping that it was going to be 2 hours, because I changed this to be 0.3 millimeter layer height. And so I thought that this was going to be a little like 2.5 hours, and I could speed it up. But let's look at this. In just a second, we'll go through and we'll slice it and check it out. So that's what I've done. I've gone over here to Canvas, and I've gone to Canvas. I have defined a material. It's a PLA. Here it is. It's a PLA. I'm starting from a PLA and I'm going to a PLA. One of the things is that people want TPU and PETG. And initially the Palette 3 was released and said we can do PLA. Might be able to do PETG. I'm not sure that it does PETG. I thought it did, and then I thought I saw something that didn't. And so we're going from PLA to PLA. What if I have some PLA, like in this filament I was just breaking, that needs more heat or more compression or more cooling? So I've got 3 matter hackers. Wait, what? Oh, I've got 3 matter hackers filaments and 2 zero filaments, and they need different settings. I would have 2 different settings here. And different heat, compression, and cooling. By default, it's 0, 0, 0, I think. And so I wanted to add it a little bit. Okay, so that's what we've got. Questions? What are my questions? You're doing such a good job.
What do you like most about the Palette 3 so far?
Oh, the reliability. Absolutely, the reliability. The Palette 2. Let me grab my Palette 2. Let's go here to, oh, dog, you're gonna knock some stuff. All right, so here's the Palette 2. Well, I'm eating peanut butter and she's smelling it. So let me, okay, so the palette 2 in comparison to the palette 3, let's go here. Oh, I might have to slow it down a little bit because did you hear that rumble? Looks like it's doing okay. It's not exactly pretty right now, and the reason it's not pretty is because we're off color, but we're off color. We're off a color and we will stay off that color. I'm noticing that it's not off half of one of them. Like, did we get one where it's like only half blue or half green?
It did mess up the color. There's a bunch of them light blue.
Yeah, is there one that's half color? It looks like they're all. So somebody had asked a question. So I got multiple questions going. This is like typical palette. There are something called pings and pongs, and so we got off track. We lost that section of filament, but the palette does tests to find out where you are, and the pings that it does. If we leave it on here and you watch this, it's going to get to a certain point where it just stops, and it doesn't do anything for a couple seconds. That's called a ping. And that is in the G code that Canvas created that says, at this point, stop for a few seconds. And remember how I said over on the palette, it's always measuring everything that you're doing. It's measuring every bit of filament that gets pulled out. And if it's retracted, goes backwards. Those pings are a message to the palette. You're not pulling filament right now. I know where you are. What, who? Ariana. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. I will we'll come back. I forget this is YouTube. You can come back and like TikTok. Once the live stream's over, it's over. Yeah, come back and check tomorrow, and hopefully we will have a lovely bracelet. Yeah. So the pings and pongs, sometimes it'll happen. It tries to do it in certain spots where it won't mess up your model. And when it stops, again, it's I lost my train of thought. It's the palette saying nothing is happening. I know where you are. And then it has a certain number of pings and a certain number of pongs. And the pings are, where is the printer at this point? And there is a good reason for that. One, who knows what happened on the printer? We lost filament because we had a break and we had to put it back. So the palette is going to correct for that. Oh, you're there. Okay. And it will correct the splices that it's making to adjust for that. The other thing is the pongs, and the pongs are for palette to check itself. I think that I'm here. Am I actually here? So the pings are to check the accuracy of what's happening on the printer side, and the pongs are to check the accuracy of what's happening on the palette side. And the pings are really useful because what if you do not have your Z steps adjusted, and so your filament. So your printer, instead of printing 100 millimeters, is only printing 98 or is printing 103 millimeters. Ideally, you will have your printer calibrated. And that's one of the things Mosaic said, is that if you're waiting on your palette 3, what can you do to prepare? Calibrate your Z steps, or E steps, sorry, your E steps. And otherwise, they will still adjust for it.
You think you'll make a shorts video on the bracelet?
Oh, yes, let's make a shorts video. Let's make a shorts video on the bracelet. Yes. We'll make a shorts video on the bracelet. Random question.
How come so few companies make good neon pink filament?
Oh, that's a good question. Hold on. I got my greens going. What are you doing? I have a 10-year-old down here who is supposed to be in bed because you're asking for chocolate at 12:34 in the morning?
I heard the chocolate wrapper.
You did. Why are you not in bed?
Mom couldn't sleep.
And you think chocolate's gonna help?
Yes.
I would not be a good mom if I gave you chocolate at 12:34 in the morning.
But.
You can have milk.
Chocolate?
You can have milk.
You have a neon pink filament?
Neon pink filament, yeah. I have a neon pink question. And then I have a palette 2 question. Honey, no chocolate right now. Okay, talk to me in the morning. Okay, I have to go. I'm working. I love you. Shoo. All right. What's in my pocket? I love you, sir. I know chocolate will keep you up. It'll keep you up. Thank you for being safe and come around. Okay. Neon pink is very tricky, and I agree the same thing. Like a color that Who has one? Who has one? Who has one? Does Village Plastics have one? Does KVP have one? Hold on. Does KVP have one? Somebody has one that's good. I have one that is, I believe it's Filamentum. Let me check on Village Plastics here. And then I'm going to talk about the reliability. My number one thing that I love about the palette. Did you find one? But that's neon pink. Oh, is this Village? Okay, so this is, oh, this is KVP. Do we have a neon light? So this is a very bright. This one actually is blacklight reactive, right? Didn't we do some tests with this? But hold on. Are you talking about? Hold on. Hold on. You're not allowed. No, this is it. This is their neon pink. Okay, so this is Keen Village Plastics neon pink. It's not translucent, but it's really bright. Somebody had. Oh, isn't there one that's a clear pink? Look for a clear pink right beside that. My assistant said he was tired. Hello, child who needs to be in bed. Cassandra Johnson, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. And I apologize. You've got to go around. Thank you all for putting up with me being a little bit scatterbrained as things are happening over on the print. Let's go look at the print. Let's go look at the print. Welcome, Cassandra Johnson. I love the hearts. So you hear it going, blah, blah. Huh?
How about Boss Pink?
Oh my gosh, Boss Pink. Ooh, Repcord Boss Pink. Repcord. I forgot about Repcord Boss Pink. I have only printed with this a tiny bit. So that one is very nice. I was looking for a translucent one. I really thought Filamentum had one though. I thought Filamentum had one. The Village Plastics is not. Oh, I know what I'm still thinking about. No, blue, green, orange, purple, red, yellow. They don't have it. Okay, Village Plastics doesn't have it. Let's look at Filamentum. I agree with you, though. Filamentum. Shop. That's what I want. I want a shop. Pink. Let's go. Pink, pink, pink. Okay, I have this. This is it. Let me go to here. All right, this is Filamentum Neon Pink Transparent, and it is a really good filament, but it prints a little bit differently, and it's also expensive. And you have to find somebody to get it. But this is a really nice one. I got it for some reason. I can't remember where I got it. But it's great, but it's a CP. It is easy printing as PLA. It's not PLA though, but okay. Oh, the dragons. Yeah, I was just printing dragons on. Actually, I'm printing something really neat over on. I'm live streaming on TikTok right now too, and I'm going to have to go add. But I just had, this is the Easter dragon, which is when Cinderwing came out with the, I just finished one of these. I think I put a video out. I think a video out is out on YouTube. This, all right, hold on. We'll go here. My next door neighbor's son, who we have not had children in the house very much, and he picked these colors. And I thought, Whitaker, you did such a nice job of picking these colors. I would not have picked this, but of course it ended on the tail, and I thought that was great. Yeah, the dragons are like such a crazy craze. And then when Cinderwing came out with a rose dragon, and my mother's name is La Rose, and I thought, oh, this is neat. So I printed it, and I was like, roses and dragons, that's kind of odd. And then for some reason, it just works. I don't know. So the Easter dragon, we got a dragon with eggs and bunny rabbit ears and feathers. And I mean, what a neat... idea. So we have dragons have turned out to be just, I don't know, they're just fun. And then this one was, I forgot, this was like the furry dragon, but I'm not sure why it's furry. This one was another creator, and it has, what's neat about this one is, unlike Cinderwings, this one has a huge number of motion points. It's just got the whole thing, and there, you know, everyone has different motion, but this one was a giant one. Okay, so I'm sidetracked on dragons.
You tried Solutech Pink.
3D Solutech. Wait a minute. 3D Solutech.
Food Kings.
I want to find out. Let's go find out. Yeah, 3D Solutech. 3D Solutech. Hold on. High quality. No, I'm not sure. Wait, they have an ultra peel. Oh, store unavailable. The store is currently unavailable for maintenance. Darn it. Store's on their main page is oh wait, shop now? No, store's unavailable. Okay. 3D Solutech. I have 3D Solutech. This worries me a little bit. Ooh. Wait a minute. What are these? What are all of these? What is all of those? Yes, there are 3D printed dragons with wings. Oh my goodness, there are 3D printed dragons with wings. Cinderwing actually had one. So we're still offset with the color, but it's coming back. I'm hearing it rumble. I think we're going to be fine. We're 37%. We'll see how this goes. Hold on, I'm going to look up 3D Solutech. Give me 1 second. 3D Solutech PLA. Hank. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. Fill a cube. Um, 3D Solutech's not coming up. I'll have to go back. Ooh, Paramount. My concern is that by going fast, I'm going to kill this. Everyday glow in the dark printer filament. Wait a minute. Who is this? I've never seen this before. Guys. What is this? Everyday glow in the dark. I don't know about that. Okay. Oh, I have stuff in my shopping cart. Oh, I can't show you that. Oh, that's terrible. You'll have to see how many filaments I have in my shopping cart. That's terrible. Ah! No, I just happened to buy a lot of filament. I ran out. I ran out of some filament. Okay, so let's go back here. What are we doing? So what is this? What creator? Gotta go. Oh, the Ferret Gamer. Good to see you. Tobias. So what is this? Could you ever make a 3D printed dragon with wings? Okay, so yes, Cinderwing has one, and it's a really interesting one. Her dragon is so interesting because you print it and it has wings, and then when you take it off the build plate, it's printed in such a way that then you open the wings out. It's really cool. It's really cool. So. All right, Ferret Gamer, good to see you. Why am I, it seems like I'm getting my messages. Okay, yeah, that's really neat. Now, Echo, you had asked a question about the palette. What was the question? What was my favorite thing about the palette 3? And I'm going to show the palette 2 in comparison. And I've got this camera up high. So the palette 2 had 4 paths. There was a 2 filament and a 4. Wait, is it right? Yeah. So it had 1, 2, 3, 4 paths. And it came in, oh, my hair's going crazy. And there were 4 little holes here. They were very hard to find. It was annoying. And each one of these little areas here was the filament detector, right? So this would tell if the filament had come in. And it had the little wheels that would keep track of if filament was moving or not. When you got your Palette 2 Pro, in the box were replacement ones because they knew that they had a limited lifespan. And then there were other pieces. This piece here there was a replacement of this piece. I forgot what this one is called, the Filament Advance. And you had a replacement razor blade. Of all the things that I've had to replace on the palette, the one thing I've never replaced is the razor blade. And you can see it. If I drop this on my laptop, I'll be sad. Let's see if I can get this up here. Can you see right there? So it looks similar in shape to an actual razor blade, but it's very specially hardened steel, fancy stuff because of the accuracy that they needed to print. Or cut. So my problem with this is that the number of failures that I had was dramatic. A lot. Mosaic even took the palette back and was working on it for a little bit. I'm just going to jump around so you can see other things. No, I'm going to come back. Let's see. Oh, is everything going? Let's look at the print. Is everything going? Okay, we might be getting color back. Getting color back. Things looking good. Things looking good. Okay. Looking good. A little bit different. What? Nuh-uh. What happened? The filament snapped again. Okay, so where are we? What are we looking at? We're looking at this. I'm going to pull you up. Oh, it keeps it so tight. I can't move it. Okay, so we've got a message that says, yeah. Oh my word. What have I done? I don't know what I did. I have no idea what I did. Help, tech support, help. You probably went to bed. There we go. All right, that just says press the button to unload. Let's put it out of its misery. And I am going to take this palette off. I'm going to lift up, push down, and take that off. I'm going to push the button. And interesting. You see it's the same filament as before. Something snapped with this one. So we get to play the same game. But this time, it's not as bad. Not as bad. Look over here. Back out. Okay. I'm going to pull this off. And it didn't happen that long ago. So we get to play the same game. We have 2 bits of blue. 2 bits of blue. There we go. So one thing that I do when I do these live streams, and this in particular, I am not trying to have a perfect print here. In fact, the fact that these things are happening, I think is important because I want you all to see, if you're considering buying the palette, this is workable. This is my fault. I am not blaming the palette for this. I did not adequately splice tune whatever color came after. Let's see it because it may happen again. So it was this teal, light blue. Let's see what the next color is. Is it the dark blue? It's the dark blue. And we saw that earlier. Was it the teal and dark blue? Hold on. Or light blue, dark blue? Let me see. Was it light blue, dark blue? That was... No, I just force snapped that. So it's not that. All right, we have enough. We make it? We make it? Yes, right to the end. Okay. The filament was successful. Yes. Load. Reach under here and grab it. Yes. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. Now, any comments? Any comments? Any comments? They don't like each other. Okay, when I printed the Cinderwing Dragon, oh, the flat-footed model or the original one I printed was not the flat-footed because I got it like right when it came out. And so I lost some toes. But that's actually, I think, my favorite one. Let me see on the dragon while we've got it going. Okay, now we're going to go back to 3, 2. It's moving fast. Oh, I'm very interested in the dragons tonight. I don't mind for sure. All right. Moving down, zooming in. Moving down, zooming in. So it seems to be okay. It's making the rumbles. Let's see how it is. So we've got blue and green. And I'm going to go back on this guy and let's zoom in again. I bet my cameraman has gone to bed. I don't blame him. He was like, "Why are you doing a live stream tonight?" I'm like, "I got to do this. I've got to get my review out." I'm sorry. I make like the dumbest noises. Okay, let's see. We got it all. The 3D printed rattlesnake. I can find it. All right, but let me do a little bit of this. So, Echo, if you are still here, bearing with me. Yeah. So these pieces would break, and you would have to replace them. The homing switch, that was it, would break. But another thing to look at with this is, if you can see the buffer area is very small in comparison to the palette 3. Oh, the palette 3, which I don't know. See how big that buffer area is here? And in comparison, we have, there I lost hair on it. So we've got this whole area here, and the palette 2, it was just here. The other difference in the palette 2 was it was not lined with a PTFE tube. In this case, with the palette 3, they have lined as much as they can with a PTFE tube. Backing out, backing out. They've lined as much as they can with PTFE tube. Ooh, I'm just not good at camera work. All right. So because this is merging, they can't do it. And as soon as it comes out here and is cooled off, they run it through this measurer, throw it into a PTFE tube, and it stays there until it gets to this very end bit. And this is its actual buffer length here that it's moving back and forth and go all the way up here. And as soon as it goes to this next measurement, it goes back into a PTFE tube and goes all the way to the extruder, then to the nozzle. So that has saved a lot of things. If you have bad splices and they are not as secure, if they're kind of weak, if you've got splices that are kind of pulling apart, as long as they don't break before they get to your extruder, it doesn't matter. And that PTFE tube has made a huge difference in reliability. But the other big thing in reliability, I'm sorry, I'm not even on the screen talking, darn it. Sorry. The other thing that's made a big difference is all of those parts that were on the palette too. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 of these in paths, and they have little tiny PTFE tubes in here. All of that was replaced by this. And they have this one roller bar that grabs all of the filament. And what happens underneath it, if you hear it move from one, it goes ga-gung, 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 ga-gung. Behind the scenes in here, it's rolling and flipping over until it hits the right one. And then it comes in. Hey, Echo, I have a question for you. Are you watching the other live stream? Because I'm going to have to go add the ball bearings at some point. Yeah, the rattlesnake. Okay, will you let me know? Because what happens is it's going to get to something like 10.6 millimeters, and it'll beep for color change, and then I'll run that way where my guest bedroom is. Yeah, let me find the rattlesnake. The rattlesnake is somewhere. My daughter knows that, and my son know that these are theirs. But a lot of times people are like, hey, can you show this on the live stream? Okay, so we've got, I really thought that this rattlesnake was great. And I was so upset when this came, well, not so upset, but so I got this. This is a Strong Hero bronze copper brass filament. And I was like, whoa, look at that. And I bought it. And then it went out of stock, but I didn't realize it. And it went out of stock. And then people were like, where did that filament go? And fortunately, Strong Hero has it back now. This is, I mean, MacGyver's stuff is great. This stuff is great. And then the rattles, the fact that it rattles, this is, I think, a tiny bit big. Yeah, this is just beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. But yeah, someone had asked the original model, the Cinderwing model. Yeah. The original feet. These were successful where she had them curled underneath, and sometimes they would work. Somehow this one worked. The very first one I did of hers, but then I did this psychedelic. I saw Pink Luminade printing with this today, and they just don't hold up as well. So she flattened them out. But I think she left that version. Okay, back to the palette. You know what? We were still talking over here about how to make. All right, let's check everything. Is splicing good? And is printing? Now, the purge tower back here, the transition tower is looking quite nice. Let's see how high we are. It says less than 2 hours remaining. We're going to be up late, folks. Oh, it's only 1 a.m.? Oh, cool. Okay. All right, so that's the palette, too. If you have any more questions about the palette, too. And they have these little covers. Let's go back here. They have these little covers on them, which I think they're like dust covers. It makes it look very pretty. But in order to have ideal cooling, you'll notice that the cover is off. You pretty much have it function without the cover on. Okay. Let's go back and look at at how we would. So let's look at painting the model and determining this is the transition tower here. How big this transition tower is. So let me show you. No, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to show you part of my review, which hopefully I can get out. I'm having the worst time with the review. And why I keep doing live streams is because there's so much to say. And it's not getting to you all in a logical, orderly fashion. And I don't know that it all makes sense in the right order, but there's so much to say. And so keep asking. Oh, it's getting close. All right. Yeah. Check the short out tomorrow. So transition towers come in all shapes and sizes. I need to find this model. This was a Santa hat with a little ball. And there's very thick areas where it did a lot of color changing, and then very, very light area. See how they can like barely see in there? It needed to build a transition tower to get there, but it did the minimum amount of actual. So just because you see that a transition tower is a certain size, it doesn't mean that it's solid all the way across, right? But sometimes they're very complicated. In this case, there was a black section in the middle of the model and different colors. They're not supposed to look pretty. It does the minimum it needs to in order to get the job done. Sometimes they are really junky. This one is yucky. I mean, I keep all my transition towers because they're interesting, but it just wasn't. You could file your nails with that one. Oops. And some of them are pretty. Let me find some pretty ones. This one was pretty. It keeps coming off. Ugh. This little bit keeps coming off. So some of them are pretty, but in this case, it gave a grid of pink here because the base was pink and it didn't have to do anything until it got up to the last few layers where there was a color change. Hold on. That was my what's happening face. The one I want to show you though is, let's see if I have the two. I can't hold anything. Okay. I want to find the two. Oh, I like that one. I keep them because when I'm running time lapses in the other room, I usually, because I need to set up, it's going to be this dimension and it's going to be these kind of colors. And so these are perfect to show how you can set something up. Okay, I believe this is the case. This transition tower, this transition tower and this transition tower are from the same model that I printed twice. And so a lot of people are like, this is sacrificial filament. You're printing something and then you're throwing this filament away, or you're not putting it to good use at least. Is there anything that we can do to mitigate that? And so one thing is you can change its shape, but realistically, this is the area of a rectangle is X times Y, right? So if I make it narrower in one direction, it goes longer in the other. So this rearranging it shape-wise is to accommodate whatever models you have on the build plate. All right, I'm going to go back to 4 and here. Let's see. It's getting close. Helping with your tangled PLA? Oh man, I forgot. Yes, I put the video out. Oh my gosh, we recorded a video on tangled PLA or tangled filament, and we haven't actually gotten it put out yet. We filmed it last night. We had this like filming things and printing models, and it's this whole series of I'm in the midst of printing, and then we're post-processing or taking videos of it or taking pictures of it. We have a bunch in the queue, so sometimes I get confused. Okay, what was that? I'm so Viper. I'm glad it helped. All right, I want to go back here to the model and go into painting it. So I want to click on it and I want to paint selected just to show what this process looks like, because it would be easier if I went in and had this all one color, but in this case, it started out all red, and I went in and I used the paint bucket, and I did create regions, and I had it create regions, and you can specify polygons and faces. And then I went in and I just picked this pattern, and I said I want the paint one, and I want this to be all yellow. And that looks super easy to be able to do that yellow, but it really doesn't get everything. It only got that face. And then I was like, oh yeah, but we need this face and that face. Wait a minute. This is where it took me a while because, oops. Oh, come on. Okay, yeah, I need that and that. And oh, yep, that and that. So this, you can see how it took a while. I was able to do faces, but it's still, I had to go through and thoroughly get everything. And then I missed a couple things. So I came back. Oh, there's a piece. But it wasn't too bad. And this is a little bit, you would, other models. So once you do that, you can, I'm going to cancel and throw it away. But the definition of that will give, once I do 8 colors, then this is the type, this is the size transition tower we would have. So I think there was a question of, can we make the transition tower larger or smaller? A lot of people want to know, how can we make this smaller? Let me show you this transition tower. This is the biggest transition tower I've ever made. By my good friend Clockspring 3D, who did this model. And let me go grab it because it's right over here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Aha. Here. Oof. Oh, while we're here, let's go check on everything. Palette's okay? Palette's fine. Print's okay. All right. So is it, I mean, I'm worried now. Are we going to have to do this for every layer? Every time we get to, oh, look at that. There's blue. Okay, I see the blue green. I'm slowing this down. All right. I see the blue teal coming. Let's be very generous. I'm just having it print at less speed. All right, 1 second. Let me go check something. I'll be back. All is well. We have 27 minutes, 26 minutes, something like 27, 26 minutes to change. We are good. We are good. All right. You all left at a good spot. And did it make it? Did it make it? Do we know? We won't know until it's made it past the blue. What color is it on? It's green. So we don't know yet. I see it. I see it. It is, let's back out. Let's back out to this one. Let's do a back out. Wrong way, wrong way. Okay. There's the other camera. All right. We'll get as much as we can on both of those. Okay. All right, let's go back over here and look at this model, and I'm going to slice it. And let's look at the sliced model. While it's doing that, I'm going to come back to me. I want to show you my biggest purged transition tower yet. And this was for a little model that Clockspring made. And it's the little dot jars, but this was not how to, little jars. There's no dots on these. And so he made this one, the carnival jar, and it's 8 colors. And I did this with the palette 3. Yeah, this was with the palette 3, wasn't the palette 2. And every single layer has all 8 colors. And it did a beautiful job of it. But every layer, it had to change 8 colors. And in this case, just like we're changing 8 colors on that, it had to change 8 colors, and it had to do it the whole way up. So this is very similar to what we've got there. And this is completely solid. So this is, I think, 12 or 13 grams. And this is half a kilo of polyalchemy elixir. So this is a lot of sacrificial filament for the, a lot of sacrificial filament for this model. The thing about this, though, is once the nozzle has changed from one color to another cleanly, you can do as much on the bill plate as you want. So if you wanted to lay out and you could fit 10 of these or 11 of these on the bill plate, this would be the same size. It's changing the color, and then it's doing everything. The way the slicing works, it's going to do everything on that layer on the bill surface before it goes to the next color. So this looks very wasteful. Other ways that it saves on, because this is the last resort. You don't want to do transition tower. What are the other options that you can do? And another option is by default. So let's go back over here and let's look at some settings. Oh, wait, I can't get to the settings yet. One of the settings in here, as I'll tell you, is purge to infill. So if you have a model that has a lot of infill, it will take advantage of that infill to try to transition from the red to the pink and the pink to the green. And it will, in so doing, it does all the math and calculates that this will become smaller depending on the amount of infill that you have in the model. This one just happens to have no or almost no infill, so it wasn't useful. Now, there's another tool here that is an option that I'll talk about. And if you are interested in getting the palette 3, and you're interested in using Prusa Slicer, Prusa Slicer has, or Prusa has an add-on to their Mark III, and this printer is a Mark III that we're using right now, called the MMU, the multi-material unit, and it sort of piggybacks on the top, and you can send up to 5 filaments, different filaments in there. And so they have their own functionality in Prusa Slicer to be able to paint models. And so a community project was something called P2PP, and it is supported by, Mosaic. And so they've been working with that group. And so instead of using this, because a lot of people have said, this is web-based, what happens if Canvas and Mosaic go away and I can't get to my models? Because you can get the STLs out at the end, but how can I get the color and the painted version and all of the settings of the model? And so you can not use Canvas at all, and you can use Prusa Slicer and use P2PP. It works much easier if you have a Windows-based install of Prusa Slicer. If you have a Mac install, you have to do some finagling to get it to work, but it will work. And Prusa Slicer has some advantages that Canvas hasn't implemented yet, and hopefully they'll implement it. But one thing that I think, this is where I'm coming from, I don't know because I'm guessing, but Canvas is, Mosaic originally, when they came out with the palette, the first palette, they had to come up with software because they were doing this very early on. And so they had this hardware that could print in multiple colors, but they needed some software to go with it. So they developed Canvas. And that's carried over with them through Palette 2 and Palette 3. And so this software maybe does not have the same amount of development hours that you would have put towards the Prusa Slicer, which is a slicer that's its primary function is, I mean, there's a whole group of people doing that. So I'm not sure, but a lot of people have said they prefer Prusa Slicer. That's going to be up to you. Since I'm working with Mosaic Palette, I thought I would present their tool. Advantages to, let's see. Oh, the Ferret Gamer, thank you for staying. Thank you for staying with us and looking at our very heavy ½ kilo of absolutely beautiful filament that I have a plan someday. I keep all of my, this is a super aside. I have a plan. I don't have a fully formed plan, but I've kept all of like the little pieces, any little junk of filament I keep. And someday I'm going to do something with it. And I am still evolving that idea, but I don't throw it away, which might be really weird, but I keep it. And someday I'm going to figure out something to do with it. When I was at Protopasta, they had taken a cookie tray, a cookie, just a cookie sheet, and they took, in this case, it wasn't broken up pieces of models, but they had the pellets, extra pellets, and they put it on there and they put it in the oven. And when they were done, they had this really cool sheet. It wasn't, unfortunately, it didn't have the curve up, so you couldn't really use it like a tray, but it was really pretty. And I thought, man, that would be cool to take some and melt it down. So maybe I'll melt it down. But different things that Prusa Slicer does. So where is my orange one? I need my different one. Aha. So this is the purge transition tower that went with this model, because we got 8 colors. Here's the same model, but it has 3 colors. Once I removed the lid, 3 colors. And the transition tower for this one is very different. Let me find it. It is much, much smaller because, first of all, you only have 3 colors. And so this is all, and if you look at this, even though there are 3 colors, there's only ever at max 2 colors on happening at the same time, because we start off with orange. So if you watch how this goes, we start off with orange. And so if you look at this, it's really airy, because all they did with Canvas was try to do the minimum amount that they could there just to build height. And then it got to red and orange. And if you see this, all it needs to do is move from one color to the next. It's clicking. Did we make it? Did we make it? Hold on. Hold on. Let's go back. Are we past it? Oh, there's another one coming, though. So we're back to having what looks like solid colors on there. But look at this. Oh, it's got a glare on it. Right here. Blue and green, blue and light blue coming again. So maybe if we go at the slower speed, when this happens, it's actually moving pretty quickly. It says we are at 62%. Okay, questions, comments. Alessandro Rubiani, hello, welcome. Okay, is it easy to set up the initial colors at the start? Is it like click and select for the circles? Yes. Yes, it is. I can go back and I don't have to reslice. I want to make sure. Okay, back. Yes, it's very easy. So if you wanted to have a black first and then a, come here. Why is it not letting me click? Oh, orange, and I wanted blue and green, and it'll repaint it. So these colors here are really to help you. The software, when you send it over to the palette, I'm sorry, I'm not on screen. Oh gosh. Well, and then now I'm not here. When you send it over, it will say over here, it will say insert this color, and it'll show you a picture of that color. But honestly, if you just remember colors 1 through 8, and that's what you do, yeah, so it's really easy to pick it. Still on the palette view. Still on the palette view. Uh-oh. Okay, we're back. Is it back? Oh, crap. I'm so sorry. Still on the palette view. Thank you. Okay, let me go back. So red, orange, yellow. Red, orange. Here, we'll do this in reverse order. Red, orange. Hi. So, well, that doesn't help because you can't see it. I got to get out of the screen. Yeah. Off. Just, uh-oh. Did that break? We'll see. Okay, yes, so it's very easy. This is just you picking, and so I wanted to have it black and green, blue and green. And you have a very special color that you want to be, I don't know. What do we want? Purple. Let's find purple. This is purple. This is purple right there. Yep. So it's easy. And it's really more for your notation than anything. Still on palette. Still on palette. I was like, what do you mean? Hi, Mizumi. So yeah. I don't even know what it was. Teal. So I'll go back to red, orange, yellow, orange, red. And this is just for you. It does tell you when you are loading the colors. It changes the graphic over here. It changes the graphic to say insert this color, but the palette 2 didn't exactly have that, and it was fine. Oh, we are really behind on the live stream, it looks like. Or at least mine is. Okay, we're back. Let's check the print. So it's doing okay. We did not have a break. So this tells me that I was very excited about printing this fast. We are at 65%. I'm trying to figure out. So if I print this really fast, which I'd like to, because the original estimated time was not that long, it's pulling hard, and I don't have a solid splice on the light blue to dark blue. So we've had 2 breaks at that point. Oh, darn it. It's going to make me splice because I changed colors. Darn it. Actually, cancel. Cancel. So I was talking about this being the transition tower for this because we're going 8 colors, but that this was the transition tower for this because we were orange at the beginning, and then we had to go orange red, so we had to change 2 colors, one color to the other, and then there was a solid red, and then it had to do a period of yellow to red, and then if you notice, the tower stops because after that point, I'm afraid I'm not trusting the palette. once it got to yellow, it stopped. There's no need to continue with the transition tower if you have no more color changes. Now, Prusa Slicer has an advantage over Canvas. Canvas will purge to the infill, which is great, but Prusa Slicer has some additional tricks that it can do. And that is, if, for instance, your model, let's think about it as a pyramid. You had 8 colors and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The transition tower, instead of having to be the same height the whole way up, and that's what Canvas does, whatever dimension it chooses, X and Y, it stays with that all the way to the top. Prusa Slicer will actually decrease the tower so that it's smaller. Now, if you have 8 colors here and 4 colors here, but then you go back to 8 colors, it's going to have to keep it 8 colors the whole way up. But once you are no more, you have fewer colors, it will drop the transition tower length. The other thing that Prusa Slicer does is really neat is you can have 1, 2, I've got 1, 2, 3 models on my build plate, all 3 of these, and you can say to it, I want you to have this one, these 2 look like this, and then I want this one here. This one is going to be the equivalent of the transition tower. I don't care what this guy looks like. Just dump that the color change, just put it here. Maybe it'll look interesting. Maybe it'll look junky. I'm going to paint it later. It's a mini figure, or I just like the way it looks. So that's neat because you can transition to a model, which is a nice feature. And it would be neat if Canvas implemented that. Okay, Mizumi, good to see you. Okay, so that is a cool thing. The other thing that Prusa Slicer does that I think is, I'm gonna grab a build plate. I need a build plate for this one because I don't have a way I can show. Wait a minute. Yes, I can. Hold on. Ha. All right, we are going to go to here. I'm going to go over here and pull this here. And this is, we're gonna see if I can make this temporarily work. See if I can get some focus here. All right, I'm gonna see if I can just make this work because I think it'd be easier to show on a build plate. All right, I have my model here, and it needs to do the transition tower, so it's going to do it here. Now in Canvas, you can choose to put it, you can rearrange where you want it. And I showed also that you can change the dimension. You could have it be, like wide, or you can have it be long. You still are going to have the same XY information, but you can pick wherever you want it to go. It'll give you a suggested move. But one thing that Prusa Slicer does that I think would be neat if I show this as an example. Okay. Let's see. All right. In this case, this is what Canvas had to do. Canvas didn't need to do any transitioning until it got up here where the red and orange met. Okay. It didn't need to do any transition until it got there, but it needed to build up height because, as you know how 3D printers work, it does all of the first layer and then it moves up, all of the second layer, all the third layer, all the fourth layer. And so it built this, but it was fairly open and airy. It was, that's not going to focus. It was very open. It was the minimum amount of filament that it could do for that area. Prusa Slicer does something a little different. Prusa Slicer says if the extruder, however big the extruder is, has clearance, and we can get around what you're printing, we don't have to match height. So what it will do is, in this case, this whole bottom area would be gone because there's plenty of clearance. It would go over and print orange, 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 and then it would get to the first layer that it needed to do 2 colors. And it would come over and it would begin to print those layers alone. So it would go over, drop down. come up and go over. And there's some parameters that you can set. You can say how much it's allowed to move down or up. But in this case, this area that's all red that matched to the area where there was only one color and the yellow, or sorry, orange, that would be gone. And this would be only those two heights. And it will do that if and only if it can, if it has clearance. So if it doesn't have clearance, it can't do it. But that's logic that Prusa Slicer had, and some slicers do, because they have, let's back out. There we go. That it can do that because it can do serial models. I don't know if you've ever done that. In some of the slicers have it. They'll say, I want to do model A and then model B and model C and model D. And provided they are in disparate enough places on the build surface, it will completely do model A and then go and do model B and then model C and D. So that logic was already there in Prusa Slicer. And so they just said, why don't we take advantage of that and reduce the transition tower even more? So I spend a lot of time talking about transition tower. This is why I'm having a very, very hard time doing the Palette 3 review, because it is a huge topic. And my husband has been very sweet. And he said, you're just trying to help people understand if it's something that they want to buy. And so I'll give my summary of that right now, which is, it is a much, much, much more reliable product than the Palette 2. I was so frustrated with my Palette 2. Now, the Palette 2 and the Palette 3 reminds me a lot of the 3D printer, which is, it can like drive you nuts. I'm going to come back to it. It can drive you nuts and something's broken and you can't fix it, or you can't figure out what's going wrong, and you want to throw it out the window, down the hill, in the bin. But when you finally get it working, you're like, this is why I love 3D printing. This is great. And the Palette is a little bit like that. It's a whole level of complexity added on top of the 3D printer, because it's not a 3D printer. It's a companion product. And I think that the quality that is in here is very good. I think that you have a huge responsibility, just like you do with your 3D printer. If you don't have, you have empty layers, or you don't have your first layer calibrated, or if you aren't sending it with the right temperature, or you don't have right slicer settings, you've got 0% infill, your model's going to fail, and that's on you. There is, the reason that we have failed tonight is because I don't have the splice settings correct for whatever that blue teal is, a light blue and dark blue. Something about that needs additional heat or compression or cooling. So the other thing is, there are missing components. A lot of people are not happy with it. So I think for what I want to use it for, it's great. I am very happy with it, but it will drive you nuts. Absolutely. But I'm happy because I think they're delivering a good quality product. They are rolling out additional features. There are people who are like, you said it was going to have TPU. It doesn't have TPU. There are a lot of functionality that you released it and it's not even there yet. And you were saying it's coming out in firmware updates, and people are unhappy about that. And I don't blame them, but I also understand that products have this window of life. And if you wait to release the product until you get it perfect, you are missing part of that life. And so I would rather have it when I got it incomplete than wait and not get it until later this year. So that's my perspective. I love it. I think it's great. Is it worth the money? It's very expensive. $7.99, and it's getting ready to go up to $8.99. You have to really want the palette. And this is what I do this is what I do. So to me, this is great, but you have to really want the palette. I think it's wonderful. So that's my position. And I am going to really quick check. Preach it, sister. I am having my alarm go off, which means I have to leave you all to go to let's leave it here. I have to go put marbles in. If you happen to be on TikTok and you want to run over really fast to Filament Stories on TikTok, I'm doing a JBV creative, these models that you put these little not marbles, you put ball bearings in, these 1/2-inch ball bearings, and oops, I'm not here. These 1/2-inch ball bearings, and
You when it's done, they're encased in there, and they're these little they're fidget toys, and it's just really cute looking. And I'm printing with some. Speaking of the down here, the red and the orange are 3D Max filament, and I got this 3D Max. It has nano diamonds in it, very fancy. So nano diamonds, and yeah. So let's do that. I'm gonna back this out a tiny bit because this. What did I do? I do that. No, exit. Stop. Exit. Okay. And I'm gonna slow this down just a tiny bit in hopes of it. All right, I'll be back. Is it going? Off. Nano diamonds. It's really smooth. That was not what I expected. Is it going? Is it all going? Oh, it's still going. All right. That was not what I was expecting. Okay. So he said, let me get back here. Whew. He said in the, I forget what his name is, JBV Creative. I forgot what the J stands for. James, Jack, he said, Joe, that, warning, your printer damaged something, something. And I thought, oh yeah, whatever. But what's interesting is it's a marble channel to put the ball bearing in. And you would think that you would be high up enough for the extruder so that the ball bearing would be below the entry point, but it's not. He's barely covering it over. So the point that you're putting the ball bearing in, you still have a couple, what do you think, Echo, a couple millimeters? And so the printer is chasing the balls around as it's finishing the print. It's got like 38 more minutes to go. Oh, I left my phone in there. So if anything goes wrong, Echo, say something here on. Anyway, so yeah. So this is working. This is working. And the other live stream seemed to have worked. Okay, we were talking. So this is going well. And if you were at the other live stream where I was, or if you've seen where I was talking about this, I really have to apologize because I had some problems for 2 hours trying to get this going. And I just, well, it was the other live stream. It was a different model. 2 hours trying to get it going. And one of the things I said is I grabbed 8 filaments, I put them on, and I said, let's go. And there were a couple things where the palette had an issue, but I really think now that it was my fault and not the palettes. And I had a PET G instead of a PLA. And when I realized that after the live stream, because I switched it out and then later I put it back on, it was PET G and it was not heating to PET G temperatures. So that was my fault. And on this one, we have a light blue to dark blue that the splice has failed twice. And we've had to, the palette was fine. The palette didn't know we had a splice failure and it was continuing to splice. Look here. It was continuing to splice and it was waiting for the printer to pull filament. And so I just went in and pretended like I was the printer and came over here and just pulled out the filament until we were able to put it back in the printer. And then after the second time, I realized it was a bad splice. That's when I realized splice tuning. I didn't splice tune it. So I think it's a very tricky thing. There are a lot of people who the palette is very polarizing. I think a lot of people will see it and say it's not a finished product like they expected it to be. And so they don't think it should have come to market yet or come to sale. A lot of people are frustrated with the delivery time frame. The original delivery time frame got delayed. I agree with what Mosaic did. They said, look, we found out, we're going to be transparent. We found out that the outer casing, or I don't think it was the outer casing. I think it was like this internal, some of this internal black plastic here was the test plastic that we had was fine. But our factory in China that was producing it was using a different formulation of plastic. And then when we got the actual production models and the tests on them, they were cracking. And so they had to go back and redo that. And that caused delays. And I mean, that's like, to me, it's like if they say the plane can't take off because there's mechanical problems, I don't want to be on the plane. I'd rather wait for the plane to work. I mean, maybe it's a toilet flushing, but I'd rather wait for the plane to work. So in that case, I didn't mind that the palette was late for delivery. There were some delivery issues with getting pallets to people who had paid for shipping. And I know that that's a question that I don't have a good answer for. I have a friend who paid for air shipping. He's not in the US. He still has not gotten his pallet and he bought it before they actually released. And so he still hasn't gotten it. I got mine in November of last year. So, and they're saying, hey, we have stock. You can buy them now. And he still hasn't gotten his. And the shipping information he has is it's on the way, but doesn't have any actual shipping. So that's frustrating. I have another friend who just got his and he ordered it a long time back. So some of that is questionable. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for it because I don't know all the behind the scenes. So what questions do you all have? Any questions? Amen. Preach it, sister. I do think it's a good product for what it has to do. It has to do a really tough job. And reliability wise, when you get your splices tuned correctly and you have a model that is painted correctly. So something else that this one here is a single model I got from Thingiverse and I dropped it in and I painted it in a bunch of colors. The other thing that's really nice is if someone designs a model that is a model in multiple parts. Let me show you one. Oh, it's cold. Oh. Let me go back in Canvas. Let's go back in Canvas. Oh, wait. Aha. I want to show something here in settings. I'm going to go talk about the transition tower a lot. I'm going to go over here in settings and talk about the transitions. So before I do that, check out the link. I'm going to move this guy 1 second. Move it. Let's see if I can grab it. No, how do I move it? Move, 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 move. No, not rotate. Move. I want to move. Is it 2 fingers? No. Why can't I move it? Ah, I got it. Move it. Where are the arrows? There's the arrow. Where's the arrow this way? Yeah, I'm going to move this over. Okay, move it down. All right, now I'm going to go to settings and go to transition tower because this is one thing we didn't go to. So the transition tower, this is the information that the palette's going to do to, can we see everything? Yeah. This is how big your transition tower is. And this is my biggest beef. If I have one thing, and I asked in Palette 2 and it's not come out, and I don't know why other people don't want this. So there's transition tower and side transition. There is a company, Big Brain 3D. And if you want to do side transition, it's really interesting. You build this little piece, it's printed parts and springs. It actually has a thumbtack. It's a really cool design and it's very small, and you can attach it to the side of your printer. And then instead of doing the transition tower, it moves over to the side, extrudes a blob of plastic, and then goes dunk, dunk, and knocks it twice, and it kicks out these little pellets of plastic, and it's really neat if it works. And I could never get it to work reliably, so I went back to transition tower because I didn't see that there was a significant amount of difference. You're still having to purge from one color to the next. So I'm still got to purge. In this case, my transition length is 100 millimeters. I'm still purging. When I go to red to green to blue, I'm still purging 100 millimeters. So here is where you can make a difference in this transition tower. I am going to change that from 100 down to 30. And 30 is the minimum you can do. And let's watch what happens when I save this. It should change in size. See how that got smaller? And that's 3-dimensional smaller. So it has to do less millimeters of movement back and forth to move from each color. So you're saving a significant amount of filament just by doing that. But why would we not always do that, you ask? Where's my model? The reason you wouldn't always do that is because you need to cleanly transition from one color to the next. So this is a model Clock Spring put out a while ago that you can change. It's a skull, but you can change the bottom to have different teeth. I messed up. It was supposed to be pink eyes, a pink heart, and a gold tooth. And I didn't get the colors in the right place. But you can see that the gold bleeds all the way around. A lot of gold bleed. And the pink does the same thing. And white's very tricky. So it still did a perfect job of doing it. So there is a brown, there's a brown eye patch, and it was supposed to have gold dots, but they're pink instead. It did a beautiful job of the demarcation on each of the spots, but it didn't change colors well. You'll notice that there's not a lot of brown. The brown didn't have a problem transitioning. The gold bled a lot. The black was terrible. So in this case, I needed to have longer transitions between each length. So just going down and saying, hey, change everything to 30 millimeters is not necessarily the best solution. So what you can do is you can do something called variable transition lengths. And you can weight something. So if you have a white color, white is a very light color. So you could say it's a weak color, like this is a weak color. And red is really strong. And I would say my minimum is 30 and my maximum might be something like 180. And most of them will be medium, but this pink is light and my yellow is light and the rest are medium. And so maybe overall by doing this, you'll have less transition. Oh, let's go back here so we can see. I was not on the screen, was I? Sorry. Darn it. I do that every time. Let me go back here. I don't know how long I was not on the right screen. Guys, I'm so sorry. Escape? How do I get out? Oh, here we go. Cancel. So my apologies. So the transition length, 30. By default, the one that I had before was 100. Did we see any of this? Did I screw this up completely? Watch behind here. It was 100. It'll go bigger. Well, it's much bigger. And that's a 3-dimensional larger. And then if I say, but I want some of them to be stronger and some of them not stronger. Scrolling back down, transition length. I can go to variable transition length and say that the red is a really strong color, but the orange and yellow are weak. And this is medium. Oh, and the purple is strong and the pink is weak. And so I have a minimum of 30 and a maximum of 100. Maximum transition length as it is 130. Okay. So this will save some transition. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see what it looks like if I say save behind here and save. Let's see what that changes. Did it change? That might change when we slice. The other final thing, and this is the most detail, is if you go to variable length and we set advanced configuration. And this is where you get a full grid. So in this case, we've got 8 colors. This is a lot of work, but you can say if I'm ingoing, so I'm going to red and I'm coming from orange. So I'm going to red coming from orange. That needs to be the minimum. I'm going to put this at 30. Oh, is it tough? Oh, good. Out of the danger zone. Oh, okay. Good to see you, Echo. Thank you so much. I know it's late. Oh, I don't want to look at the time. Oh, it's 2:10. Okay. I can manage. So this goes to, and thanks for checking on that, Echo. So 30 here. And so you can check every single color to every single color and really get into saving transition. So this is really nice that they have this. It's a lot of work to figure these out. For the most part, I a lot of times will do a test. If I'm really going to do something with a lot of colors, I will do a small test. Like I'll do one of the layers of this and see what bleeds and try that. Okay, let's get back over to the model. I really need to put this down because it seems like half the time. Come on. All right, what are we looking at? Oh, we're at 95%. 95%. We're going to finish it. Yes. Now the question is it going to move? Is it going to move? All right, if we're at 95%, we're going to make it. You know what? It seemed like, did it seem like it went really fast with some of that? Oh, that's not good. We don't need, I'm not useful there. That's blocking the view. It seemed like it went pretty quickly at the end. So that's the big question. Will it move? We have layers at the bottom. It didn't go so well, but this, I bet, is the last layer of multiple colors. Do you think short transition length would be good if you're already going for a gradient, almost intentionally blending them? No. Okay, so you know what? I'm so glad you said that because I'm going to go back to these. I'm so glad you said that. Let me come back here to me. This one had this massive, this one here had this massive transition tower to do, oh, it's clearly late, had this massive transition tower to do this cleanly, right? And then this one, which was only 3 colors, was smaller, right? But this one has 0 transition tower. And it has 0 transition tower because it's using the pattern mode in the palette, which I love the pattern mode. So let me go get some other examples. I am a huge proponent for having 0 transition length because I agree. I think that there are situations where I might be doing a geometric model. It's something, and I want clean transitions here, but something that is, I don't mind. I mean, the example I always use is I've got Clifford the big red dog. He's red, and we need white eyes and black pupils, and we need that to be very, we don't need to look like he has pink eye. So in that case, we need very clean transitions. But a lot of geometric models that I do, I don't care if they're blended. So let me show you this here. Let me grab a couple more models. Oh, don't fall. Oh, I dropped something. All of these. Okay. All of these, every single one of these was done with the pattern mode. So this, I'm going to see if I get this close. Yes, there's no transition tower to this. It's just splicing and sending it. And these are base mode. But I do that because, okay, from the pink to the red, I think I can see a little bit of bleed and maybe the blue, light and dark. But most of these, I mean, orange to red is very crisp. There's no transition tower here. This black, yeah, it's a little muddy here from the, when it's going from black to white. I keep hearing noises. Black to white, but the tan to black is perfect. This one here is a gradient, but basically it's a transition where it's going with more of the blue here to less of the blue. And again, I can hardly see anything in here. I want an option. Another one. I can't see anything in here. These are some silks. Actually, they're not all silks. Why can't we have 0 transition? So the pattern mode is great when, hold on, it's making noise. What's this noise over here? Well, you can't see me. I turn that off. I'm around the corner. Oh, it says it only has 8 minutes to go, which means, oh, it turned off. It's quiet. That means it's made the last splice. It's made the last splice. We're going to make it. All right? Yeah, we're going to make it. You're going to get to sleep before 3 a.m. Okay, but yeah, I am a huge proponent. I love the patterns. I think these patterns are absolutely beautiful. We'll come back to this one. I think these patterns are beautiful, but there are only 2 ways that you can do this. The first way is that you have the palette do one of 3 things. One is I'm going to do a random and you give it, so this is exact. I told it I want these exact colors, this exact length. Same thing here. Okay. This one is gradient, and you can only do this with 2 colors. You pick one color and then you go to another color and you give it a distance. And this is just sort of random. I can't remember if this was pick random and whatnot with some ranges. But when you do that, you're telling the palette to just send those colors in that. What did I do? Did I script my, you're telling it to just send those colors alone. What if I wanted to go back to this model, not this model, cancel. Let's go back to Canvas and pick, oh, I think it's projects. Let's go to, what do I have here? Clock spring. Okay, this is a tiny pie. This is a tiny pie lid, and I just picked 2 colors of green, and it's actually 2 different pieces. So he designed it to be paint selected. Come on. Paint selected. Go in here. Okay, and you can see that that's just part of this. Cancel. Let's do the other. The other one's more interesting. This one. Paint selected. And you can see this is the other part of that. So this was 2 models, 2 pieces, and they each had their own piece. Now, the only way that I can paint this is to have a transition tower. There is no way around it. I can't say that I want to go in here, and I don't mind if my 2 colors of greens are slightly blended. I can't say do this in pattern mode. I can say do it in pattern mode, but then you can't get that. I just want to do this, and I don't mind if they blend a little bit. And there's no way to do that. And I really wish there was. So I want transition length of 0, because in some cases I want to paint a model, but I don't mind if it blends. So I don't have an answer to that. I just would love it because patterns are great. And you actually can spool up filament, which I remember Joel Telling put a video out, and he said, let's go back over here because we're getting close to the end. He put a video out, and he was working with the Palette 3, and it failed. He was doing a clock spring model. Even speaking of, he was doing the Necromancer's jar, and he came back the next day, and something had happened. But in the meantime, he'd asked the palette to make filament in pattern mode, and it just made and made and made. It was this big pile on the floor, and he spooled it up, and he sent it off to somebody, and that's kind of fun. And so you can do that, but you're still not able to paint a model and say, I don't mind that there's not a transition tower. Just do your best. Just keep going. So I don't know. There may be more complex things to that. Let's see where we are on number 1 here. Okay. So this is the end here. This is all we've got to go. So we lost 2 sections of filament. If you came in later, let me show you what happened. We had the filament snap at 2 different points. And it happened to be when the dark blue came after the light blue. Something about that splice was not as good as it should have been. And we lost about, what do we think? Because it had to purge in there, I don't know, 6 inches of filament each time. And so we may have lost 12 inches of filament. But the way that the palette handles this is it does these pings and pongs. And I meant to catch it. At a certain point, the extruder will stop, and you'll think, what's it doing? What's it doing? Why does it stop? And it's actually, that is because right here, as this filament is coming out, it's measuring every time that moves. It's very accurately measured. So at the beginning, when I was saying, it was like something's wrong. It didn't load the filament. I didn't have my splice tube quite right. I had a little extra filament, but it's waiting to say, where are you? Oh, I know where you are. Okay. You're further along than I thought you were. You've used more filament than I thought you were. So I'm going to adjust my splices going forward to catch up to where you were. The last time I did one of these models, and I've been really impressed with the Palette 3. When you finish, let's look at how much filament is left, because that's what I want to see. Hold on, let's see here. Suresh Shavin, I'm probably saying your name wrong. Hello. You are coming in like the best part, because we are right at the end. You're going to see the which is your country? I am in the United States. I'm East Coast United States, so it is way past my bedtime. But I wanted to do this live stream. I have been the palette came out, Mosaic came out with a firmware update today, and I haven't had an opportunity to mess with the new stuff. But one of the things that is exciting is over here on the side is a plug for a camera, and you can plug in like a Raspberry Pi camera. And then over on the palette, so let me go back here and see printers. Let's see where we are. Is this? Printing. Aha. Okay, let me switch back over here. So this is our default setup. We're printing the Kinematics bracelet, and it says there's 2 minutes remaining. And right here, camera streaming is disabled. So this is brand new. They have just added that in. And yeah, so I need to put a camera on here and test that. But this has been driving this from here. So we started this out with let's go back over here. We started this with loading up the model in Canvas. It's an online tool from Mosaic. Brought the model in. I painted it up before the stream, and I loaded some filaments up. Didn't do probably the best job of splice tuning, and we paid for it because we had a break twice in here. And then I slowed down the print speed. And thank you all who are here for following along this whole time. So, Suresh, where is your country? You've had some diehards to stay with us. Brrr. That didn't sound good. Brrr. It should be. So where are we? Oh, this is, man, we're right at the end. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go here. One. It's hard to see. Where is the end of the filament? Can you see it? This is the end of the filament here. So let's see how close it gets. Because yeah, we lost 12 inches of filament when we had those 2 breaks. And yet the palette corrected for us each time, because even though we had breaks in filament, it still had each section correct. That's what impresses me. I saw this in the I have no idea why it's doing this. Unless it has to change. No, I don't know why it's doing this. Why is it doing that? I think it's going to add a dot right there to the bracelet to see if it'll connect. Why is it doing that? Yeah, I think it's going to do. It's doing a little dot. And you guys have seen like the side of my hair all night. So the camera's here. I need to change my camera, but the palette is there. So I keep looking over at it. Where are we? It says 7 seconds to go. 7 seconds remaining. Seriously? It's pretty good. Yeah, it's 2:30 already. I know. McForner 911. I know. Tell me about it. Live streams are like that. I will say I have, I question. Oh, wait. Is it done? This is the weirdest thing. This is the weirdest thing. It does this. I have no idea why. It like does this crazy slow backing up. There we go. It does this. It's crazy. I don't know why. Okay. So it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. Let's pull it off. It worked. Okay. Good job, palette. And the palette says, wait, before we pull it off, let's go over here. The palette says we are done. Let's see. Okay, so, and it says we're done. Let's see what we get here. Kinematics bracelet done. We have 2 hours, 57 minutes. Oh, you know what? That wasn't bad. Okay, done. And it's going to say, would you like to print result? How was this print? Aha, this is important. This is important. I know we're going to pull it off the build plate. This is important. And the reason this is important is because all of those pings and pongs that it was doing, it was, come back to me for a second. All of those pings and pongs where the printer was stopping and waiting and the palette was going, aha, I know where you are. And then the palette did pongs and it checked itself. Am I splicing as much as I think I'm splicing?
all of that information. If this print ended up successful, we want to give it a thumbs up because it adds that to its data so that our prints will become more and more accurate in the future. So in this case, we want to say thumbs up. I've made it kind of like happy. Thumbs up. Great. And we're done. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to, actually, we'll just do this. We don't even need to do this. All right. That's pretty impressive. Can we see over here? We're in the wrong, in the wrong view. This is not helpful. This is not helpful. Hold on. Back up. Back up. Let's just look over here. See what's coming. See what's sticking out of the, I cannot drive a camera. See that? That's all that's left. That has been my experience. Even though we lost room, they had that much left. They pretty much end like that. Okay. Hooray. Now let's go to 2. Let's bring it off. Are we ready? Are you all ready for this? No. You've been eyeing the palette. I know. I will tell you something. At times, you're going to want to throw your palette out the window. Info screen. Can we just, I need to move, unload. Oh, come on. Settings. Move access. Hold on. Let me move that. Let me get this out of the way. Yeah, the palette's great. The last 2 live streams, we have had some errors. I think some of the errors last time were the palette, but I found out a lot of it was my fault because I had some pet G. So I have to apologize for the palette. But I did want to like try something. It's kind of good to. Now, are we on the right screen? We're on the right screen. Okay. So the first thing is, let's get this off. So this is our very pretty transition tower. I don't know why it had that on the top, but I like it. I will keep it. Yeah, that's nice. All right, so is it going to move? That's the question. Okay. All right. So even though we messed up in the middle, and let's see, some of the colors, green, blue. Did it catch back up? Purple. Oh yeah, look at that purple. Okay, so let's see if it, I don't know about, oh wait, hey, there we go. These are little tiny joints. Can you guys see? Are we in focus? I hope we're in focus. I question whether some of these joints are going to be really great. Okay, some of, look, that's moving. That's moving. This is nice. All right, I'm impressed. Oh, see, that one came apart, but I probably can get it back in. I will add a little filament with that. If it's loose, I'll add a little filament with the 3D pen. Some of these are tight. All right, this is, oh yeah, this bends too. Oh, that one's loose. Is that the model? Could be the model. I don't know. So some of these are a little loose. But the accuracy of the print is what I'm really looking for here. And the fact that it's changing. I'm coming around here. Hold on. Let's go around here. That one's really close. The fact that it is changing filaments and is still able to move. Yeah, so some of these are just not that tight. But wow. Yeah, this is great. I'm impressed. Definitely impressed. I am impressed with you, palette. If this is what you're looking for a product to do, and you are willing to take the time to tune your filament for splicing, if you are interested in doing PLA right now, they are continuing to add functionality, and you do not look at it like you would look. You look at it the same way you look at a 3D printer, which is that you're going to have failures. You're going to be behind the plastic all the time, pulling out stuff. You will have days that are bad, and then you will have some amazing prints. That's my experience with the palette.
3, the palette 2, not so much. From a reliability standpoint, once I know the splices are solid, I will leave this and go away for hours, and I have confidence in it. So, okay, any questions, you guys? How much does each piece weigh? Oh, how much does each piece weigh? Do I have? That's a great question. That's a great question. Let me see if I have a scale. Hold on. And I have another print. I've got to run and go check. Because for some reason I was crazy today and decided to run 2 live streams. So I have another print that is done in the other room. And you're also nice to put up with me making weird noises like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, on. All right, so the bracelet weighs. Wait, hold on, let me tear this. Tear. Oh, wait. I know. I didn't put you down. Are you ready? No. 22 grams for the bracelet. And the transition tower is, well, I just slammed it down. Hold on. 27. So 27 for the transition tower and 22 for the bracelet. And that is because we were talking earlier. If you were here earlier, we actually now that I have it, I need to check that again. I've got another one to compare. Where is that? Here. Where is the tower? Oh, is that the one that? Oh, I have one over here. Okay. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so this is a 3-color model, and this is the transition tower that went with it. It's very airy in this spot. Let's weigh that. We have tear. Oh, the plug is in the way. There we go. 15 grams for the vase or jar. 32 grams for the transition tower. So 3-color transition tower. It had to build up some empty space. 32. I need to write this down. And the last one is the one where we really, really asked the palette to do something. Again, not on the palette. This is our decision. I wanted 8 colors, only one, pretty much no transition, so it couldn't purge to transition. So this is 15 grams. And the transition tower for this massive thing, because we cleaned it out, this is 422 grams. So this is worst case scenario. I know a lot of people really, really know that this is sacrificial and it's very upsetting. And I agree. And so what we want to do is try to come up with ways that we can minimize that. And so in this case, I made one of these and did all of this. I could have put probably 12 of them on the build plate and then changed that. I probably could have reduced the transition length. This was one of the first things I did with the Palette 3. I probably did not need this long of a transition length. I probably could have reduced, maybe made this 2/3 or 1/2 this size, but I had just gotten to working with Palette 3. So I could have put something in that had infill and it could have transitions to the infill. A lot of options. So anyway, so things to learn. We're learning. That's one of the neat things, that this is technology and we're learning things that we can do. This isn't an exciting, this isn't going to save anybody's life, right? But we are learning things as a result. So, hey, hello from Spain, Info Mario Rus. Yeah, I'm not sure which one you mean, but yeah, it a lot of times the transition towers can be more than the model itself. In this case, we're asking it to do 8 colors. It's having to cleanly purge out 8 different times to go back to the loop. And that amount of filament that it zigzags back and forth to clean out is something that we can set, and we can make it be more or less. If you have a color that is very, very pigmented, like I'll bring this guy back. Here is a fail that I did. I tried to have a smaller transition tower here, and it was a skull that rotates around. And I chose to have small transition links, and it just did not work well with the white because the gold just bled for a long time, and the pink did the same thing. But that was okay. This is a great educational tool that I keep showing and saying, this is what you can do. So the question is doing tests and finding out what the minimum you need to do is to achieve a clean transition. Or I still want Mosaic to come out with 0 transition length for things like models where I don't care if I have the transitions blend. This is 0 transition because it's their pattern mode. And you can see some bleeding between some of the colors, but not on all of them. And I don't mind in certain models that are geometric models, for instance. So in any case, we made it. We made it. All right. I'm tired. Are you all tired? To make the rainbow parts? Yeah, you learn something every day. I think so. Can you 3D print without the purge block? Right now, you have, no, you don't. No, you have a couple choices. You can do side purge using an add-on that you have to create yourself. The other option that is, I think, better, and this is, I think there's just more development effort going to it, is instead of using Canvas, Mosaic's tool, is to look at using Prusa Slicer, and using it is a community built tool called P2PP, and you add it into Prusa Slicer. Prusa Slicer has some other things that Canvas doesn't have. For instance, instead of purging to, where's this guy here? I lost it. Instead of purging to this, you could say, put 2 more of these on there, and you could say, make me 2 more of them. One's going to look perfect, and the other 2 are going to look interesting. And the transition is going to be done into a model instead of into a tower. And so that's another option. And P2PP has some other options also that can reduce transition tower. Like, for instance, in this case, this orange and this red block actually were just there to raise the height up, but really weren't needed. And so P2PP will actually come over if you have room, if your extruder has room, and it's doing this here, if it can go over and drop down and do the transition tower. So it actually saves here. So they're coming up with a lot of different ways, any different way. Purging to infill is the great one. These models have no infill. These are terrible. They have no infill. But if you have a frog and you can purge to infill, it really reduces the transition tower length that you have. So rainbow filament, make rainbow. Make rainbow filament. Yeah, that's fun. Just like, you mean splice it? Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you all for, how much is it? How do I try to spread out a little bit of the filament? Thank you all for staying with me here. This is fun. Every day I do this, I learn something more about the palette. I do think it's a product with a lot of promise. So, I try to look at it as in, my printer doesn't, I'm okay with failed prints because it's part of what happens with 3D printing. And I'm okay with failed prints with the palette because it's part of what happens. It's just when you get the combination of the two together that, I have those days. All right. No, I've never tried to recycle my own filament. I have kept all of the other stuff. I've kept all of the scraps that I have. I have just some strange idea that someday I'm going to do something with it. But I've seen Stefan's, I've seen a couple things, Michael of Teaching Tech and Stefan of CNC Kitchen. And I know that it is a process in and of itself to do it. And there is also a lot of energy that's consumed to get to the point where you can recycle it. For instance, you have to have it completely pure. Like when I dump all my scraps in there, I might have some PET G, or I might have some cleaning filament or nylon, and any of that goes in will mess up a batch. You have to then go in and thoroughly dry it. And there's a lot of energy involved in the drying process. And then you've got to grind it up. And there's energy involved in that process. So by the time you get to the point, and then you've got to add virgin PLA to it. So, but Stefan had a really interesting one with 3Devo, and Michael of Teaching Tech had a really interesting one. I guess I'm holding out for something that maybe is a little more straightforward and actually is not dumping a lot more energy in to recycle it. So in the meantime, I've got bags of filament scraps in my attic and failed prints. My husband thinks I'm crazy. No, he knows I'm crazy. Okay. Hey, I'm going to end the live. Thank you all very much for being here with me. This was a lot of fun. And I appreciate all the questions and dealing with me, like answering them all in a crazy order as we jump back and forth with things that were happening. So. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Oh, yes. Okay, you save yours too? Okay, I mean, I have it. Someday I'm going to do something. I have it just, and I'm never getting rid of this thing because it's so pretty. But yeah, someday I'm going to do something with it. I have an idea, but I will have to wait and see. We'll see. Let me know your crazy idea. I'm so glad I'm not crazy. Hey, thank you, Mizumi. All right, you all have a great night. I'm going to go over to TikTok and in the live stream with the JVV Creative models that are over there that have the ball bearings zipping around in them. All right.